All right, everybody, welcome back to the Killer Main podcast series. This week we have Blight, a quite popular killer, to say the least. My guests would like to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name's Code. I play Blight. I'm on the Flickland roster, and one of the people that actually deny or let people into the team.
Where can people find your Code?
Find me on Twitter, or you can find me on YouTube with IGN Code, and it's double E's on Twitter. In case some loser has my username.
I'll have all that linked below. The big question, not the big question, but the starting question is always, how long have you been playing Dead by Daylight?
Okay, so this is a slope. This is a slope.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the game when Freddy was released. Okay. I didn't touch it because my friends were like, "Oh, you should get this game." I get it. They stopped playing it, so I'm like, "Okay, well." So then they're like, "Oh, we should start playing this again." So I start playing it, and I think it's before demo, maybe around then.
Mm-hmm.
And I really play it around when Blight PTB first came a thing, and that's when I started really playing. But I started playing Blight probably after like all the major graphical changes.
So you experienced Blight when he was a hunchback?
Oh my god, yes. And I think I started playing him. I don't know the exact date, but if you remember what J flicking is or leg flicking, when that got removed, I started playing him around then.
I thought you could still J flick.
No. You can. It's actual exploiting. We can get into that later down the road, but it's like,
Yeah, I use the Blight on PTP example for why Chucky shouldn't be third person or first person.
That's fair, actually.
That's why he shouldn't be first person. Go play that for an hour and tell me he should be first person, please. So why the big question, and every main gets asked this like 1,000 times, but why Blight?
Okay, so it wasn't like some convoluted story like, oh my god, I love this guy's outfit, the lore, and all that. No, I got like 4K5'd by a Blight on Ormond, and I was like, I want to play this killer.
So spite. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, exactly, spite, and it ended up being this. And the person that actually taught me like majority of Blight when I really wanted to get into him was a comp player called Silent, and I still kind of keep up with him, but yeah.
Do you play comp?
Okay, lots of comp players, like actual ones that win tourneys, say I shouldn't classify myself as a comp player until I win a tourney.
That's not how that works, but okay.
Yeah, so I play more scrims than anything, and I've played in a few like Otofu scrims, the ones like he streams, and like a few like lower bracket scrims.
Okay. I'm probably gonna make all the comp players mad, but that's not how that works. If it's like saying,
I see where they're coming from, but they should probably like label it something else.
Yeah, I feel like if you played in comp, you were technically a comp player. I don't think winning should be. I mean, there should be like a.
I think they're meaning that more for like the new gen players that like play one or two comp games, and they're like, "Oh, I am comp now."
Oh no! Like there should be like there's like a line, but like if you regularly play comp and haven't won a comp match, like you're still comp. Like, anyways, that would be like if a pro player never won. Like that doesn't mean they're not pro.
Yeah,
like in league or something. Whatever. Anyways, so with that that was actually a really simple reason. Most people like a long-winded story. Nothing against them. It's just like
yeah, no, I got stomped by a Blight on Ormond, and I was like, I should play this killer.
So before we get into the next question, which is changes you would make to Blight, I want to kind of talk about the changes they have made to Blight over the past year or so.
Okay.
Because he was in a patch like every patch pretty much for like 7 months or something.
Yeah.
So there
because they don't have a bounce areas, that's why. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. So there was the first round, which was probably the biggest, where they reworked a lot of his add-ons. What else did they do?
Yeah,
Was that it during that one?
hug tech being removed.
Was that during that patch? I thought it was
New,
later.
yeah, no, it was a bit later, like a month or so later.
But that was when they reworked all those, and then they got rid of Hug Tech, which I think
Yeah,
was on the Twins PTP, wasn't it?
yeah, around
Yeah.
then.
Um, Now I'm gonna let you go off, but I'm going to give my opinion on the Hug Tech situation, so we know where I stand on this, and you're gonna
Yep.
hate me.
What, you
Um,
don't think it should be a thing? I'm assuming.
I think it should be a thing. However, I think them removing it has made him better to play for the normal person.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I used to hate playing Blight. I still do, but uh, after the Hug Tech changes, he feels so much better to play for someone like me.
And that's where our two paths divide.
Um, well, I mean, we'll probably get into it, but I mean, that's going to be the case
Yeah,
with like every killer main versus like the average player, right?
yeah,
Um,
that's true.
like if they like when they did the changes, and sometimes it's the opposite. Like when they did the changes to Chucky, and everyone thought it was a nerf, and it's like no, it wasn't. Um, uh, but like I think the biggest question comes down to, and it was kind of getting stirred up when it happened. Should an exploit be allowed in the game?
Um, so when it comes to exploits, I have my like own little definition.
Mm-hmm.
Every single tech is an exploit. I don't care what people say. Every single, almost like 99% of text in this game is an exploit.
Yeah.
It just depends on how it's used
Mm-hmm.
and like how it affects the game. So what's a good one? Um, so Old Legion, you know how where if they walk backwards, your men timer goes down if you played during then.
Yeah. I didn't play during that, but I know what you're
So
talking about.
yeah, so that's an exploit because you're abusing like the core mechanic of the game, right? But it affected gameplay to a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was enough to get it changed. And exploits like if you remember the locker one, that was a big issue
Uh,
for survivors when they go in there, they're just invincible.
yeah, the flashlight thing. Yeah.
That's a full on exploit
Mm-hmm.
because that can change the game drastically. But if it's like a oh Raul's gonna hate me for this one, but if it's like one with Death Singer, you can crouch to get your momentum back or your control back quicker
Mm-hmm.
after Death Singer lets go of you. I would that is an exploit, but I wouldn't call it game breaking. Right? That's something that should be staying in the game. Curves, for
Right.
example, on
Mm-hmm.
Billy as well. Before, I don't know if it was supposed to be a thing, but they are now because you get blood points as a reward.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so for me, it just depends on how game breaking it is and how much it actually changes the core mechanic of the game.
Well, I think the problem with well, one of them is a little bit more obvious, but I think especially the latter one, it's who gets to decide that.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing because this is how I view a lot of things. Um, like things should be staying in games if they're not like game breaking,
What?
and the devs need to make a clear line
Mm-hmm.
on what is considered an exploit or not
What
because
what would you define as game breaking?
something that changes like core mechanics of the game, like holding hostage, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider that game breaking, or like being invincible for like a amount of time, like just stuff like that. But it's kind of hard because I don't have any examples on the top of my head right now.
Mm.
What I wouldn't consider game breaking is hug tech, right? For any killer.
Okay.
Um, and for me, this one's going to be controversial. One frame 180s on Oni
Mm-hmm.
are an exploit, but not game breaking.
I I would agree. I had it's not out yet. I had Sea Lion. I think you know them
Sea
actually.
Lion's my friend. He taught me Oni.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sea Lion was on for the Oni episode of this. And
cool.
I pretty much said the same thing I said here, but the problem, like I said a second ago, is where is that line
Yeah,
and who gets to decide it? And at the end of the day, it's the devs.
yeah,
Unfortunately, well, not even necessarily unfortunately. The thing is, and even me and Scooty talked about it, where I think I would rather have the devs commodify it, make it an actual part of the killer and the character, if it becomes an integral part of them.
yeah,
Um, and I completely understand why they got rid of hug text. I don't think they should have, but it seems like the intention wasn't to like say F you to the Blight community. I think the intention was to, and we can argue whether or not it did it, but to help Collision.
yeah.
Because
Scooty might have said this.
mm-hmm.
Because Scooty and I had a conversation about this. It's not actually the devs that are greenlighting these changes. It's the higher ups
Right.
that choose if this makes the game look bad when
Mm-hmm.
like a new player comes to the game,
Mm-hmm.
which sucks, right? Because the devs probably have a really big passion for this game. But like Sky Billy, for example, it wasn't game breaking.
No,
It didn't get him a free kill or anything, but it was
but
just funny to do. But
it made the game
it
look,
looked bad for the
yeah.
game.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand why they removed it, but it's not something that should have been removed. But I fully understand why it got removed.
Um,
Um,
I mean, the classic example I bring up all the time is rocket jumping.
I was going to bring up bee hopping.
Bee hopping too. It's
Yeah,
basically from the same source code, basically. Um,
Quake.
but you know, both of those were massive exploits, with immense competitive advantage if you knew how to do it. And you know, over the years, it's just an integral part of not just source games, but video games in general. Um, but once again, because let's not pretend it's just behavior that does this stuff, because it's not. I mean,
Yeah, it's a lot of
Apex does stuff like this all the time, um, with a lot of their movement tech. Uh, I remember. I don't know if they went back on it, but I mean, there was the whole like punch sliding thing or punch boosting,
yeah, yeah.
that they got rid of. Did they? I don't remember if they gave a reason why.
Um, I don't think they gave a reason why, but I know why because it's out of the bounds of what they wanted. Like some movement text they keep in the game, they keep it in there and they have acknowledged it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that one was too much of what they didn't want. That's why it got removed.
I think another problem with exploits, and we can haha laugh at behavior balance all we want, but I think that's another reason they did it and keep doing it. I think because if you take the texts into account, some killers are completely different as far as how good they are. I think Blight is a little bit of an exception because a lot of a lot of people would argue he's actually stronger now that that you can't do the texts. Um, but like Wesker, I mean, do you think Wesker would go down in strength if the texts weren't there?
Depends on which text got removed.
Let's
If
say,
it was just like hug tech,
mm-hmm,
no, he wouldn't go down.
mm-hmm.
But if it was like rebounding, skinny Bert, scoot sliding, yes.
And I mean, looking at it from their perspective, it's like when we are making balanced decisions. Once again, we can laugh about that all we want, but when we are, do we take those into account? And I think that's the other issue with them.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, it's just hard because at the end of the day, it's behavior's decision on what they want to keep. And
right.
as much as like the community wants a lot of things to stay, it it it's not in our control.
Right.
Like even stuff on Survivor, like the slide vaulting,
Mm-hmm.
that's a that's a bug. which equals an exploit, which equals a tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're exploiting like visually what the character looks like. It has no advantage, but still, base it is an exploit. Same with moonwalking.
Is moonwalking an exploit?
Technically, it wasn't. It wasn't intended to begin with.
I mean, how would they stop
Right?
that?
They tried. They tried in a PTB. They tried
How?
removing it, and it fucked with the movement so bad that the community was outraged, and they reverted it.
I mean, I guess I'm not going to give behavior ideas here, but if they really wanted to get rid of it, the easy solution would have been just making it so your red stain shows up in the direction you're moving.
No, I mean on Survivor. I mean on Survivor.
Oh,
Yeah, moonwalking on Survivor. Lots of people get that wrong. They think I'm talking about Killer. No, I'm talking
oh,
about Survivor.
oh.
Moonwalking on Survivor. So moonwalking on Survivor was originally not intended. They tried to remove it, I don't know when, a long time ago, on a PTB, and everyone hated the new movement, and they reverted it back.
Hmm.
So to behavior, moonwalking is an exploit. It is unintentional. It's not what they want for the game. And they have tried changing it.
Mm.
Same with window teching. Old window tech, it was so easy to do. Now it's like almost frame perfect. Because they tried removing it.
Yeah.
To behavior, that is not allowed.
I mean, I think the big thing looking at it from behaviors perspective, is, and I'm not sitting here trying to defend billion-dollar company or anything like that, but
Yeah.
Looking at it from their perspective, I think another issue with it is they want things to be consistent as well for the players. So when you're going up against a Blight or a Wesker or even Chucky when he could scancel, um, it's one of those things where it's like this is an unintended thing that a player can't expect to happen. That's not part of the kit as we intended it.
Yeah, and that's fair. Like when I first found Scancel and
Mm-hmm.
posted it to Twitter, I had a long discussion with Numi if I should release this. Because they were going to do a hotfix immediately, right? It was inevitable, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's always what happens. So they removed it, sadly, and now there's still a older exploit on Chucky. I
Alcarin,
don't know. It's Elkring Chucky.
which,
That was on release.
yeah,
That has been in the game since forever. And we decided not to reveal it because of how game breaking it was. But now, people on Twitter that play Chucky a lot of the time are just showing off clips of it.
yeah,
And it makes me really sad.
I'm not going to name names, as I am a Chucky main.
Yeah.
I know a lot of them. I have told a couple of them. I've asked them if they can not show it, but I mean, it's
It's their choice at the end of the day. I have also asked some of them, but you can't do much about it.
it's one of those. At the same time, it's like I actually think that one is a problem. If I'm perfectly honest, I didn't think scancels were a problem. I thought they were fine. Alkring, I do think is an issue. But yeah,
Yeah, it's just confusing on what behavior classifies an exploit or not.
well, it's,
Like
but I mean, what do we classify an exploit?
everyone has their own opinion on that, right? So you can't really go by community basis, because it is behavior making these decisions. I just, as much as we talk about this, I just really want behavior to release publicly what they consider an exploit or a bug in this game.
Wouldn't it? I mean, what if they end up just saying it's case by case?
Then that would be. I would like to know. I would like to have examples,
Mm,
right?
okay.
Because they don't they don't want moonwalking in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they changed their mind on that, but they didn't want moonwalking in the game. But they keep all these other techs on killers, techs exploits, uh, and they haven't changed them in years. So I don't know if that's because of like coding it would take forever, like what's happening.
Yeah.
But it's just I would just like examples, and I would just like a fine line of what's
Well,
considered
I mean,
okay or not.
one that made me mad recently, and I'm not going to name the creator who made the video, but um, Someone did a video on Chucky about the cooldown uh, getting reset, or the cooldown starts when the dash starts. Um,
Yeah.
Someone made a video about that, and then behavior came out, I think, like a week later, and was like, yeah, this was actually an unintended bug. It was an unintended bug for 7 months, and you've never mentioned it?
Yep.
Okay.
Um, same with remember Plague.
Yeah.
Plague. I'm Canadian, so
Plague.
sorry. But uh, but like being stunned by anything removes the power. They're like, oh, that was supposed to how that's how it's supposed to be. Plague is like one of the oldest killers,
Mm-hmm.
and they just come out about that for that information. What? Like
It's
that's an
I,
like that's why I want to know what's on their mind, right?
the thing is, like that one, like both of those wouldn't have bothered me if they said it. It's just that, like you said, Plague is one of the oldest killers. People have known about this for years. Why is it
Yeah.
just now being not even like addressed? You know, whatever. If it takes you, I'll use the Chucky one for example. If it took them 7 months to address it, whatever, that's fine. Why wasn't it mentioned at all within those 7 months?
Yeah, exactly. Same with HugTech. HugTech was like 2 years old. Lots of Blights knew how to do it, even newer ones,
Mm-hmm.
and they get rid of it. I had insider information from those who not should not be named
Mm-hmm.
about this change happening. I knew about this change for like a solid 5 or 6 months before it actually happened.
They said they were going to do it like a year ago.
But no, I was given like the exact
Oh, okay,
date.
yeah.
Um, and I was like, I was just wishing that they don't mess it up completely. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like they're not transparent enough when it comes to those things, and I wish they were.
I mean,
But behavior has never really been transparent to begin with.
name a game company that is.
uh, Landfall Studios,
Was that Helldivers?
Tab G,
I don't even know.
the ones,
I don't even know the game.
the ones that made Tab G, the ones that made, with the little red and blue guys that have the googly eyes.
No.
Oh my god, Landfall, the ones that made Content Warning.
Oh. Oh, so a small indie dev or indie team.
They're not small at all.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
One of their games that they just said they're not going to do any updates for and released it for free has like thousands of active players on it.
Yeah, but
Like they made
but
they made
but is it like tens of thousands?
I don't know the exact numbers. So they made Tabs, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. They
Oh, I
made
know
Stick
that
Fight
one.
the Game.
I know that one. Yeah.
Stick Fight the Game. They
Uh-huh.
made Rounds. They made Totally Accurate Battlegrounds. They made Cluster Truck. They made Nightfall, A Daring Journey.
Is Behavior classified as a AAA company?
They treat themselves as an indie company, but they're a lot bigger than that.
So I guess they're double A.
I would assume. I don't know what classifies as AAA. Just like a lot of money, I
Um,
guess. I don't know what
I
classifies
don't
as
know what the
AAA.
actual classification is, if I'm perfectly honest. But I mean that's the thing. Like I can't think of like a massive multiplayer game like this that does have transparent devs, and there's usually a reason
Um,
for that.
the term AAA games is for high budget, high profile games that are typically produced and distributed by large, well known publishers. So Behavior, I don't think is AAA.
Yeah, they're not indie, so I guess they are double A.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah, I never really even thought about that. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, because they publish their own game, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's weird. But I mean, regardless, like I can't think of like a game as big as Dead by Daylight where the devs are transparent with their communities. It's just not a
Um,
very common thing.
the finals, the company that made the finals, a lot of Dice employees
Hmm.
helped with the finals, and they're pretty transparent in their patch notes. They're like, "Oh yeah, that's intended," or like someone finds a bug, they're like, "We'll look into that, get back to you," and they usually do.
Hmm.
Um, and they hone down. Like as soon as they see something that they don't want, they're like, we don't want this. FYI, this is going to get changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's something that they do like, they're like, that's really cool. Terraria, big huge game. One of the developers, there's a bug in the game where you can. Have you ever played Terraria?
Yes.
So you know how you can change the block into like a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
If you change it to a certain triangle, you can zoom across the map if you have them on a line. And Dev saw that, was like, that's funny. I'm going to keep it in the game because he thought it was fun.
Yeah, but that's a single player game.
It's multiplayer.
Well, it's not
and it has.
Is it PvP?
There is PvP server, but like
yeah, but it's not the main way.
Yeah,
to play
yeah.
the game.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
but like, it's just that's a big game company, Relogic.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pretty transparent on like what they like. And I would say they're around the same place as Behavior because they have their one baby game,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's the most popular. Same with Behavior. They have Dead by Daylight. That is their game. And they treat it as if they don't have like 20K active players a day, which sucks. Like I watch YouTube videos and stuff, and people name drop Dead by Daylight. I'm like, oh my god, I play that game because I don't even realize how big it is, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like Riot's not very transparent.
That is true.
And I know it's like the biggest game in the world, but like you would think even for them with how many because they do a patch every 2 weeks, and even they're not transparent most of the time.
Yeah, and that's a tack shooter. Like, geez.
Well, no, I'm not even talking Valorant. I'm talking League, but yeah, both. Yeah.
Oh, League as well. Yeah.
Same with like Apex devs. Usually they're not very transparent either.
Yeah. I feel like the bigger a game gets, the more they want to keep things secretive. I feel like that's just a trend.
Well, so here's the reason
and there
why.
Probably is a reason behind that.
There's a couple. The big one is false promises. That's the big reason why a lot of and that's not just a PvP thing. That's why a lot of game devs don't say much to most of their community. They don't want to give false promises.
Yeah.
Because if they say something and then they end up not doing it, I mean, we've seen it happen in Dead by Daylight. I mean, how long did cross progression take?
Forever. But to be fair, that wasn't their fault as well.
Well, no, but the point is, like, because it wasn't like set in stone, they didn't want to really say anything. Like it's probably been behind the scenes work for like however long they originally announced it, but they always dodge the question.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's because they don't want to give more false promises, and you know,
it doesn't help that they're scared of the community too.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's kind of our fault too.
Yeah, that is fair.
It's why like Warframe is I think a good example of devs that are I haven't been with the community in a while, but it's an example of a game that the devs are extremely transparent with the community. But I mean the devs are also like playing the game with the community all the time. They're
Is Warframe the Destiny 2 older game?
Yes.
Older Destiny 2?
Yeah, okay. Pretty much. Deep Rock Galactic's another one. The devs for that game, like all they're almost extremely transparent. With like everything they do, they listen to the community all the time. But once again, those are also PvE games. Neither of them are PvP.
Yeah,
as their main form of thing. It's just like I don't know. Like maybe it's NDAs. Maybe it really is just backdoor dealings. Like maybe it is just false promises. It's like what who was it? Was it the guy who made Smash? I forget his name off the top of my head. I forget which game it was. I think it was Brawl. It was
Brawlhalla.
It was either Brawl,
that's a key word for me.
It was either Brawl or the 3DS one. I remember it got announced and he didn't even know he was making the game.
That's really funny.
Like And that's the thing with like a company, especially as big as Behavior is. It's like no one can confirm anything because no one knows. So that might also be part of it. It's like, okay, why did we get rid of Hug Tech on Blight? Well, I don't know. I just wrote the patch notes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
I understand that. Yeah.
and then the person who actually made the decision doesn't even interact with the community. We have no idea who it is. Like that could also definitely be a part of it. Um, it's and once again, there also like we said earlier, it's a fine line on what is considered changeable and what isn't. And even if they are transparent, I know a lot of us say we would rather them be transparent. But what if they are again and we all get mad at them still?
Yep. And that's where being scared of the community sucks. Because us as a community, oh my god, it's so 50-50 whether something is good or not.
I mean, I like to think I'm generally nice to the devs. I'm not like raging against them all the time. I usually try to be very understanding about everything they do.
Yeah, I try to look at what they do from a developer standpoint and be like, yeah, I see why they did that. That makes sense. But like if I don't like something that they do, I won't vocalize it because I don't want to make them. I don't want to make them sad. So I usually try to talk about it amongst like my little circle.
I mean, it's like I don't know. Like some people are mad that they're talking about bringing back the base Mori change. By the way, about the base Mori change, I swear some of y'all didn't watch the anniversary event.
Wasn't it supposed to be once you down this last survivor, it
yes.
just plays a Mori
no,
instead?
No. They straight up said it's going to be a Cypher's Mori base kit.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, no.
I remember that people were complaining because like, oh, what if I want to give Hatch?
You can. It's a Cypher's Mori.
I know. Like people don't. Don't read.
No. I'm just saying, like some people are still mad about it because they're like, oh, because they mention it in the roadmap, and people were like, oh, I don't want base kit Mori because then the killers are just going to slug for the 4K. Guys, they said on the anniversary event it's not going to be the same as they tested. They're just making base kit Cyphers. I swear no one actually watched the stream.
Yeah, I usually keep the important stuff written down, so if something gets announced later, I can look back and like, oh, they did say that. I know what they're saying.
The only problem I have with base kit Cyphers is it means that, but I have a feeling I know what they're going to do to avoid this. Is it means that people will slug for the 4K more. However, I think what they're going to do is make it so there has to actually be one survivor left, not downed.
Yeah.
So you do have to hook that person and then go after the last one. Because and my argument for it has always been like Mori's I feel like should be more a part of the game. They're really not right now.
Because they used to be a big part of the game, but that's because they were overpowered as shit. Now, no one really uses them unless they're trying to go for like a 4 Mori challenge with like all the like a perk build or something. Yeah,
there's like 2 perks that cause Moris and then all the offerings, and I never bring the offerings myself because I just bring the blood point offerings.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's I once again maybe I'm the idiot here, but like I would like the Moris to be an actual part of the game and not just like something that kind of happens sometimes. I heard someone say that they think the base kit Mori would mean Moris would happen less. Would it though?
No. No. That's so counterintuitive.
Well, because they said the other thing they said was the Mori offerings, like the red and the green, would just be changed to blood points for doing Moris.
I would be fine with that. That's what should happen in the first place to incentivize them.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I don't know. I don't think it would cause Moris to happen less. I mean, like, can we not pretend like we're getting 4 out of every single match? Can we stop pretending that? Like, I I'm not that great at this game, and I don't get 4 out of every single match. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
I don't get 4 out of every match because I played Blight.
oh yeah, there you go.
Uh,
Write that down. Write that down. Never. No.
write that down. Write that down. But yeah, it's like I like the more change. It's like it's just community needs to chill, and the devs need to grow another brain cell. That's basically in a nutshell.
Yeah, pretty
What I
much.
think.
So moving on from that. Now I'm assuming what one of these is going to be, but current Blight is I misspelled Blight. Great.
I saw the H. Yeah, I didn't want to say it.
I'm dyslexic. You know what? Don't make fun of my mental disabilities. Current Blight is still. I wouldn't even say still is decent. Or not even decently. Is strong.
He's third best.
Yeah. Let's not kid ourselves. Blight is one of the best killers of the game, but no killer is perfect. Are there any changes you would make other than the obvious?
Okay. What's obvious? You mean like hug tech?
Bring back the hug tech and stuff.
I don't want to bring back hug tech. I understand why they removed it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I'm not a hug tech saint. I enjoyed it. I see why they removed it. I vouched for it not to be removed, but I understand why it was removed.
Fair enough. Okay.
What I don't like that they did with the collision is, have you ever played Wesker? Have you ever dabbled on that killer?
Yes.
So you know when he's holding up his bound, if you're in front of an object, you can't bound.
Mm-hmm.
That hitbox is now on Blight.
Mm.
So you can't scoot slide on him anymore. It's really hard when the first change first came out. It was really hard to flick around corners because I was used to hugging the wall, not like putting my face against it, but like rubbing against it on my like left or right side and then flicking.
Right.
Because you would have like more space to do that. Now you have to go really wide. You have to go pretty wide. You can do an insta V1 tech if you know what that is. Do you know what that is?
No idea.
Okay. I'll show you a video. But you can like insta lethal rush, kind of like a Wesker hug tech now.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I didn't like about that collision change, which I wish they kept, is slippery things. The whole point of knowing bump logic Blight back when the collision was like old collision was because you knew what was slippery or not. So there's a loop on Macmillan that's a filler. You know the one that has like a pointy rock that goes down into the ground? It has like a giant hitbox.
Yeah.
So on the other side of that, there's a big, huge tree with the rocks around it. The tree was slippery. So if you rushed into the tree, it would automatically put you into a hug tech. And you wouldn't know that unless you experimented and learned skill on Blight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to just bump logic around, figure out a way to get the survivor. So you're still getting the survivor. It's just not as fun / cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would just say revert collision back to the old, but somehow you can. I don't care about hug tech. You can just somehow figure out a way to get old collision, but with like hug tech removed because I know they want it removed.
Got
That's my biggest change.
Mm-hmm.
Another change would be don't give Blight add-ons that change how fast he regenerates rushes. A skill against going against a Blight is to count his rushes.
Mhm.
Each rush takes 2 seconds to come back. So let's say you count, he used 5 rushes, count to 10. Then you know if you need to drop a pallet or if you can run around it. Right? But Shredded Notes, that's a yellow add-on. Minus 0.33 seconds for each rush. So they've basically made Adrenaline Vial. So if you remember Adrenaline Vial, old Adrenaline Vial, 7 rushes, but you get the rushes back a lot quicker than base kit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they changed it to 7 rushes, but it takes longer now. So base to get all your rushes back was 10 seconds because you have 2 extra rushes. Now it's 14.
Mm-hmm.
With Shredded Notes, old Shredded Notes, you lose a rush, but you gain your rushes back quicker. New Shredded Notes, you do not lose your rush, but you get your rushes back quicker. So You still have old Adrenaline Vial. You can get the rushes back in 10 seconds still, but have 7 rushes. They shouldn't add add-ons that change the recovery time of rushes. Even for other killers as well. They shouldn't have add-ons that change the recovery time to, like, I understand for, like, Spirit, for example. Or, like, what's another killer that has, like, Ghostface. Ghostface is a big example.
Chucky.
Yeah, Oni. Actually, no. Oni can't really count. But you know what I mean, like, for examples.
Yeah.
What
about something like reload speed?
That's a whole different thing. I don't think that applies here, but like they shouldn't change it drastically. Right?
No.
So on Blight, you shouldn't do it because he's already strong enough. He doesn't need it. And it's a skill to know how many seconds you have until you get to the next pallet. Right?
Couldn't it be argued it's a skill to know which add-ons he's running?
Yeah, that's also a skill. Like you can tell he's going faster, or if he has 7 rushes, oh, Adrenaline Vial.
Mm-hmm.
Or if he has 3 rushes now, you know he has the Eerie. But if I'm running Shredded Notes, a regular player isn't going to be able to tell. So many players out there don't know that each rush takes 2 seconds to regenerate.
I didn't know that.
Exactly, and you're pretty seasoned, I would assume. Right?
How many hours do you think I have in this game?
1,000 or so.
You're closer than most. 3K.
3K. Okay. You played you like full on Chucky me. That's what I didn't know.
Now,
but like
I was a clown name before.
I
went from Deathslinger to Clown to Chucky.
Did you play Disillusion Clown?
No, I
okay,
played
thank God.
Aaron Ed's Say the Best for Last build.
I mean, that's still bad, but it's not Disillusion. But like basically no one knows that each rush takes 2 seconds to recharge back. And knowing that is like an insane way to verse a Blight. If a Blight's like decent and uses her rushes almost every chase, you can count that time. So you're like, oh, he used all 5 rushes, but it's only been like 4 seconds since his fatigue ended. I know I can make it to his pallet and run past it. Right? But with Shredded Notes, you can't really predict that unless you know 1, 2 second per rush, 2, that he actually has Shredded Notes and you're not already down from it. Right? Because that's what I don't like about a lot of add-ons, that you cannot tell what they are until you're already dead to them.
Well, some of them you can't, like, if a Ghostface is running outdoor security cam, you have like no way of knowing unless you're running Distortion.
Yeah, exactly. And that shouldn't be add-ons. But like those are my 2 biggest changes for Blight. I'm not like
I was no, continue.
Yeah, I'm not like the biggest like hug tech saint kind of thing. Like I enjoyed it, but like it's not the end of the world for me.
Fair enough. The next thing is the one that's probably the least talked about. And that would be Blight's Teachables.
Blight's Teachables.
I just like bringing them up. I just like bringing them up because they're things that like no one ever talks about on any killer. Blight's Teachables are Undying, Blood Favor, and Dragon's Grip.
Yeah.
Is that Blight's? Okay. Yeah, that's Blight's.
Yeah. So Dragon's Grip, it's a fun perk. I think I got buffed recently. Isn't the cooldown shorter?
Yeah, the cooldown's much shorter now.
It's not a very used perk. It's a funny perk. I used it when I was learning Blight, just to get the adept. It was really funny baiting people and then getting the down.
I do fishing streams with it on Xenomorph.
Oh my god, I love it. But like, yeah, it's a fun perk. I don't think it needs to be. Yeah. I like how the perk's designed. Blood Favor, a decently designed perk, right? Stronger on other killers, weaker on others, right? Depends on who you're playing. I like the perk because you used to have an add-on back before they changed the add-ons, Summoner Stone.
Yeah.
If you get a lethal rush hit, the pallets get blocked in a 16-meter radius. So it fit with him, right? Because he has an add-on that does it, he has a perk that does it. It's so cool. Now Undying, I don't know if it was on release, but Undying used to be you have 5 lives for your totems.
Yeah. It would just keep
It would
going.
keep it would keep transferring. That was abysmal. Oh my god. I hated that meta, but it was so funny.
We might
Nowadays,
with the new Dracula perk, we might be coming back to that actually.
oh my Jesus, I can't wait for that. But like, I like Undying. Undying fits him. A really fun perk. It made a staple in the game, which I'm happy about. Because if you're running it hex build, you're most likely running that,
What?
right?
Let me ask you a question about Undying because I don't really ask anyone this. Have you ever considered running Undying by itself?
Like for aura,
Yeah.
yeah, I have before. And I get decent-ish value.
You would be. It's funny because during Boon meta, I used to run it for that exact purpose.
Yeah, I did that too. I did that too. It was really fun. Because I was dabbling in a bit of Huntress as well. That's my second killer that I
Mm-hmm.
play. My third killer is like Oni / Ghostface. But I was playing Huntress when I ran Undying, and I was getting like so much value from it. But nowadays it's like, like some people don't notice it. But with the
Yeah.
distortion meta right now, it's kind of bland.
It does eat up distortion stacks if a totem happens to be right next to a gen though.
You lose all of them over time, or
Yeah, you'd lose all of them over time.
oh, cool. And they probably wouldn't
They wouldn't
be
know.
able to tell.
Well,
Yeah,
they'd see they're
unless
hexed, but you
they
know,
wouldn't understand it unless they were like looking top right
yeah.
at
Um,
it.
but yeah, I think Blight's teachables. One I would argue. I mean, you can argue if it's meta or not, but one I would argue is really good. It does what it's supposed to do. One is decent on some killers, and one is just a fun perk. So I
Yep.
think I think like Blight is one of the few exceptions of a killer that like their teachables are like, in my opinion, kind of perfect.
Yeah, and it fits him and it fits other killers
Mm-hmm.
because nowadays perks are made for other killers. Like for what's his name? The Lich. Vecna.
Mm-hmm.
He has an aura reading perk. He doesn't need it. He has his orb. He doesn't need aura reading.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of subscribe to the Robbie idea. Do you know what that one is?
Which idea? Sorry?
Do you know who Robbie is?
No, sorry.
Robbie. He does like jerks guides.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
His idea is that the way he thinks that they're doing perks is they make perks for one killer that will be good on the next.
Yeah, I've been seeing that trend recently.
Um,
Um,
it's not always the case. Behavior actually has said how they do perks. Whenever they release perks for killer or survivor, one is for good players, experienced good players. One is for brand new players, and one is for fun. That is how they do perk design.
yeah, that's a good philosophy to have.
That's why, like unknown. I was talking to somebody about this last night. I think unknown, undone is supposed to be for new players. Uh, unbound is supposed to be the quote fun one, and unforeseen is supposed to be for experienced players.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even for like Dracula, I think his are harder because I don't know if
they fit with Laura Croft more.
yeah,
The chest thing.
yeah.
I think they're trying something with the chest, which is fine.
Um,
Same with all the Sable perks. They were trying something.
Speaking of the Sable perks, I was actually noticing this last night. Do you know how many killer perks affect the basement?
1, 2, 3,
Two.
2.
Territorial and
Territorial,
yeah,
and then the
monstrous.
Scourge Hook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. I kind of I just I don't know. Sable got me thinking about this. Like, why don't we have more basement perks for both sides? Like, I feel like there's a lot of potential there.
Do you know how many blood point earning perks Killer has?
Is it four? It's one for each category, isn't it?
No, we're missing one category. And you know which one that used to be on? Barbecue.
Oh, oh yeah, that would be devout or sacrifice.
Yep.
Hmm.
And they got rid of it. And every blood point increase for Killer now is more blood points, not bonus blood
Yeah,
points.
it's more net bonus. Yeah, I tell people that all the
Um,
time. Because I'll see videos pop up on how to farm blood points, and it's like, no, don't bring those perks. It's not worth it.
I
Like,
run all of them on my Blight because why not? And then I run placebo tablet.
um,
What I was grinding for my P100s arena, that's what I ran. It was painful. Oh my god, it was painful, but it was good for blood points.
yeah. I mean, I feel like with how I know a bunch of people want the blood point incentive back from barbecue, and I understand why it's not just the actual blood points. It was to like encourage people to want to one hook everybody. Um, I think with how many blood points we get nowadays, though, I think it's
It's not
fine.
as needed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Um, I mean, if they added it back, I wouldn't complain, but like I don't think it's necessary. Uh, and like people say like, oh, we need a perk that like encourages or killers to like one hook everybody. We have that.
We have tons, yeah.
Yeah, no, we have it. It's in the meta. It's a perk you see like every game.
Oh, I wonder which one it is.
Pain res.
Yep. Well, another one is No Way Out as well.
Yeah, and No Way Out. Um, and I think both of those kind of do that, even regardless if people actually do it. But um, I mean, I don't run pain res myself, so uh, I hate that perk so much. Um, but yeah, like I think Blight like at base and even now like once again no killer's perfect, but I think for the most part like I think they got him in a spot where he doesn't necessarily need any more changes, if that makes any sense. But I could see them doing changes like you suggested.
Yeah. Where he's at is like fine. If they tweak the collision a little bit, I'd be happy. Just made the hitbox smaller like they did on Billy.
Mm-hmm.
If they did made Billy's collision on Blight, oh my god, I'd be smiling, jumping with joy.
This does kind of bring into the question. So I asked a question on Twitter and on my YouTube's a few days ago, and I'm curious on other people's takes on this. Would you call Blight difficult to play? That's not the question I asked, but I'm curious on that answer first.
Um, Depends how you want to play him. There's like 3 play styles. There's 1, people are doing him for like a build. 2, like the actual Blights that need wins because they need to feed their ego. Or 3, people that go for clips.
Right.
Right. I wouldn't say he's hard to play. I would say he's intermediate to learn, hard to master.
Okay, I can see that. So,
yeah.
So that brings us to the actual question. Do you think difficulty of a killer should determine how strong they are?
Definitely not.
No.
Oh no.
Really?
No. A killer can be hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have to be super strong, right? Like Oni, for example, I wouldn't say he's super strong. Like in power, obviously, yeah, it's like one of the best powers in the game.
Right.
But like, he's M1 base.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't get a hit, he's useless. And if you really want to learn if you want to fully learn his movement, that takes so much to learn. Because most people just run speed on him and then back rev, right?
Right.
So it's I wouldn't say that should be the case. I can see why it is the case, right? Because if a killer's stronger, it should be harder to play. But that's not the case for Nurse, really. She's not hard to play, but it's a skill issue to get past that.
You're
right?
gonna get so much hate for saying that because I did.
She is not hard to play. I played her the other day. No perks, no add-ons, and I think I was on like a 20 win streak.
I'm gonna say something extremely controversial right now. I don't think any killer in this game is hard to play.
Yeah, they're hard to master,
right?
But I don't think they're hard to play.
I said this, and once again, there's someone in my chat who's a very avid Singularity player. I said this for a while because Singularity is my brain off killer. I play Singularity when I don't want to think.
Yeah. So when they announced the Singularity changes, I actually played Singularity when they announced it, right? Because I wanted to feel the difference.
Right.
It took me a few games to get used of camera play because I usually don't play like trap based killers, like setting up killers, because I don't really like that playstyle. So it took me a couple games to figure it out. But after I did, and I started running family photo. I'm like, this is really easy.
Oh, I didn't even run.
And then I put on rapid. This is brain dead.
I didn't even use family photo. I would run cremated remains and shit. What is the other add-on I ran? Oh, the one that makes them scream when they get rid of the thing.
Yeah, if I didn't have photo, I would run the 2 extra pods and then like a cooldown one. I forget which one, but I ran like a cooldown one just to make it nicer. That's all.
Yeah, he's difficult to master. Like,
oh yeah,
to
definitely.
get like the absolute most use out of him, I would argue he's one of the most difficult in the game. But then that question becomes, because he's not really mechanically difficult.
No.
So then, like, where do we draw that line?
Yeah, like
and then a killer like Billy is another one that I bring up a lot, because
Billy is brain dead easy now.
Is he though? Because I suck at him. I find him very difficult to play.
Okay. I mean, like, to pick him up, like never having knowledge on him, yeah, it'll take like you a few games. But
even then, I played Billy for 6 hours straight. I got 3 out of every single match.
Probably because like I watch a lot of Billy content. I'm friends with a lot of Billy, so I understand how he works.
Exactly, but that's the thing. So does that?
But
that's like going to a rocket scientist and telling that, or it's like having a rocket scientist tell you that trigonometry is easy.
Yeah, that's fair. I think he's easy because of the 1 second turn window and overdrive and low pro stuff like that.
I think the 1 second turn window is why I suck at him.
I'm used to the older turn window too. I overflick so hard on long.
Well, no, even the old turn window, I used to do the same thing. And once again, people could say that's a skill issue, but that's my point. He still obviously takes skill to play then.
Yeah, every killer takes skill to play for sure.
But the question is, where's that bell curve, and how do we decide?
I'm like, who is more skillful than the other?
Yeah,
kind of thing?
Yeah.
I would say complexity.
Who's a complex killer to you?
Singularity. He's decently complex.
Well, because that's the other thing. Because like I know a lot of people are complaining. Not a lot of people, but some people are complaining like Dracula is too complex. It's like, I don't think he's complex at all. I think he's very simple.
It's just Vecna with extra steps.
I don't even think Vecna is that complex.
Yeah, he's not complex, right? But like complex killers, I would say is if you Ghostface. Hear me out.
No. I know where you're going with this. I got you.
Ghostface, if you're playing him how he's supposed to be played and going for stealth kills, that is complex. Because you have to figure out where you can walk, where you can't walk, the locations of survivors, what the gen sees compared to what you can see, blah, 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 blah. Right? He's really complex. But you could also look at him like, I expose you, down, lol, right?
Yeah, I mean that comes into another argument of like, what is skill expression?
Because you're asking, okay. Okay, so for me, I'm a clipping Blight, right? I go for funny stuff. For me, skill expression is showing your knowledge on the killer and then how you utilize it.
You are not the first person, but you were one of the very few people who agrees with me on that statement.
What have other people said?
Most people think it's only mechanical stuff.
No, it's how much you know about the killer and how you utilize it.
Right. But,
and that goes for almost every game too.
Yeah, but most people would argue. I don't even want to say most people, but a large vocal minority would argue it's only the skill, like the actual mechanical skill, that shows off the skill expression.
Yeah, but because some killers have micro and macro.
Right.
Some killers do more macro. Other killers do more micro. So if you're doing mechanical, that means Myers is unskillful.
Some would argue he is.
Yeah, because he has really little to no micro, but he has tons of macro, right?
Well,
Blight, people would think he's very skillful because he has tons of macro, or sorry, tons of micro, right? Because his whole power is chase power, right? But some killers aren't necessarily have a chase power, right? You can use it in chase, but that's not how it was designed originally, right?
Yeah, like Hag.
Yeah, exactly. You can't. You're like Hag or Trapper. You're not really using the power mid chase unless like you pre-place it, create your web, blah blah blah, right? But you're not gonna place it down mid chase
Most of
and
them.
then 9 times out of 10, right?
Yeah.
Unless like the survivors like console 100-hour player not looking behind themselves.
It's one of those things because it's like I've said it before. It's like I feel like some killers, like Myers, uh, I think because of their lack of mechanical skill, some people are just like, well, it takes no skill at all to play this killer because you're not doing anything. But and a big problem with that, I think, does come down to clips.
Yeah,
You can't clip
you can't exactly clip on a Myers.
yeah
Like, yeah,
you can't clip macro gameplay. You can't. That
defending gen macro gameplay,
like
a 4K ASMR video.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I only asked that question, the whole skill expression thing, because I play a killer who is often argued to have no skill expression.
I would like when I'm versing him, I would say like everyone who plays him is skillless, but like I'm talking about the player. The character itself is like usually skillful. Um, this is especially with like old Chucky because I played him during Schnitzel and stuff. That was really fun. And then 180s. And he's a skillful killer.
I would argue 180s weren't skillful at all. I think they were
I
very easy
mean,
to do.
yeah, they were easy to do, but like some people would just like hold ERQ or like just like they
Um,
wouldn't fully 180, right?
there was like the but you know you brought up the point of because I've always argued that the how, why, and when. I'm sorry, yeah, the why and when are more important to me for skill expression than the how, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I would find someone who knows like doing a tech on like a is it called Skinny Bird on Wesker?
Skinny Bert, yeah.
Yeah, the Skinny Bird on Wesker. It's like knowing how to do that is fine, whatever. It actually still is impressive, right? Knowing when to do it to me is more impressive.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
you can't clip that.
Yeah.
You can't have a clip where you're explaining I did it because this and this, right? I mean you can, but
Yeah. When you clip stuff like that, you're usually posting it to the circle that also does like plays that killer.
right.
Right. So when I create my newer Blight montages anyways, I make them now to show off to other Blights, hey, I know this, but I bet you didn't, kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing. And just show it off, and then they're like, oh, this is really cool, and then they do it.
Yeah,
Right?
because I mean, like me and other Chucky mans were talking about this with I forget who posted it, but someone posted a clip of they did like a five pallet scamper and hit somebody blind, and we were like, "Oh, dude, that's sick! That's so cool! That was an amazing hit!" And there was a bunch of comments that were just like, "All you did was press a button and hit them with an undodgeable attack."
Yeah, Chucky now, especially with the recovery, is like abysmal to verse. Like I hate it.
You want
He's on my DC list.
you want me to tell
Like
you
I
this?
say that I won't actually DC, but like
Yeah.
he's on the list.
You want me to tell you the secret?
What is the secret?
Stop moving.
Stop moving.
Stop moving.
Just stand still. Like
Stand.
spirit tech.
Yeah.
Actually, like for real.
Yeah.
I try to verse him like a Blight.
No, no, it's the problem. Everyone tries to verse him like he's some other kid. No, Chucky is his own. Chucky is the anti-killer. Everything you
The
do against
anti-killer.
most other killers, do not do against Chucky.
So what do you mean by stand still? Like
If you're in a loop with Chucky and you can't see him, stop moving.
yeah, that's fair.
If
I see what you mean.
you're out in the open, I mean, you're going to get hit anyways. There's really nothing you can do against most killers in that situation. But either run into him or do what some people do against Huntress, where like you just like your mouse loses all semblance of control. Um,
Okay.
I know some people would argue that's not counterplay. It's not, but it improves your chances. If you're at a
Right.
loop and Chucky's right behind you, readying slice and dice, hold it, take it wide. Everyone
Yeah,
like
and that
once again, everyone takes it like they're playing against a Blight or something. Don't take it wide.
okay, but they're playing against a Blight because they don't know how to play against a Blight. I played against a Blight. I go wide, I flare, and make them miss.
Take it wide. Take the corners early. So many people take them so late for no reason. Crouching doesn't work. It just slows you down. His swipe on the slice and dice comes from up to down. Crouching does not stop it. I don't know why people think it does.
Because crouch tech, uncounterable. I press control and win.
Yeah.
Dude, so many people now crouch against like my Blight just out in the open. I'm like, that's not how crouch tech works.
It happens to me on Chucky all the time. It's funny as shit. It's like, why did you crouch?
I'm like, that's not how it works.
The other thing, and I tell people this all the time, and people hate it when I say this. What do you think Chucky's worst loop is?
Worst loop?
Yes.
Worst loop. That's hard to say. I need to think about that.
There's a specific kind of loop it is. It's junk loops.
Yeah, I was gonna say wreckers, and I was going to say the eye filler on wreckers. You know
filler loops, Chucky can't play them.
Yeah, no. Like the eye filler on Mac or on wreckers, you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, those. Because once he scampers, he can only go right or left, really. He can't look.
Yeah, and he can't really like slide around it. He can't catch up to you because he's 110. Also, like random rocks or random like things that aren't loops also completely destroy him. I had someone who knew that last night. I was actually playing on Coldwind, and you know those little like teepee tents around Coldwind.
Yeah.
Someone ran me around that. Someone ran me around that for about a minute.
I hate those too, like so much on Blight, because like they're so wide, you can't swing around them. Like if someone goes behind a tree, you can't swing around them. You're fucked.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Yeah, running into him also works because he has to manually let go of the slice and dice to hit you. That will mess them up, and if he doesn't do it in time, he'll slide right past you. It's so funny to see. I do preface. I will never claim he's easy to play against. I will never claim that. But there are things you can do.
Yeah, I know. Like Shaq is one of his best loops.
Oh my god, he dominates Shaq.
It's like if like the pallet's dropped and you don't break it, it's almost guaranteed to hit. I know that.
Chuck spots
from experience, being on both ends.
Yeah,
Chuck spots are useless. I don't know why. Whoever came up with this, like, oh my god, I hate it.
Chuck spots so all the time.
Okay, they can't like most of the time they're useless. Like, it's like mind gaming at Shaq. You know how like some people walk forwards inside Shaq as killer, and they go back and just wait at the corner for a couple of seconds. It's basically doing that, but you can see the survivor.
Yeah, I know.
it's like it's so stupid, but it's so funny. I love it.
I do it at pallets all the time too, just random pallets. You'd be surprised. One time I have a clip of it somewhere. I was on Borgo and I like the way the lockers are set up on Borgo. You can like hide in between them. The amount of time I had people like just run into me on a loop doing that.
What I love doing on Chucky is messing with the audio. Like when he goes in Scamper, he laughs, and then I just go the other direction.
Yeah.
Or like Vault because it's silent.
No, not anymore.
They changed it?
Yeah.
Finally?
They changed it.
Oh my god!
A while ago. What do you mean?
I haven't played Chucky in like forever.
Yeah. When they got rid of manual Scamper on the PTB, it was quiet and faster. They got rid of that.
Oh shit! Okay, cool.
Yeah, I want them to bring back the quiet part, but
no, no.
He's vault slower than every other killer already.
True.
Like, would it really be that big of a deal if it was quiet?
But boo, stinky Chucky, boo. No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's just one.
On some loops, it's annoying, but others, it's like okay to have.
But moving on from me ranting about Chucky like I always do. Builds you run. I mean, do you have like a preferred build on Blight?
I have 3 builds.
Okay.
So my first one is like if I want win, it is Painter's, Grim, Barbecue, and Brutal, with like double speed or Crow and shredded notes.
Mm-hmm.
That's like my winning build. Like that's the I don't run double Eerie because I find it extremely boring and I hate versing it. And I know how bad it is to go against. My fun build, like the one I usually use for games, is you might find this one funny. So Agitation,
Mm-hmm.
Iron Maiden, Strider, Whispers.
Why Iron Maiden?
So first, most people think barbecue equals blight. Blight equals barbecue. Free info.
Mm-hmm.
Second reason is if people try to jump in a locker to avoid my lethal rush while they're healthy.
I see.
It's just really funny. In some of the gameplay I gave you, there's a Fang on Suffo that jumps into a locker, and I get her because of it. It happens way more than you think. And it like when I play against players that I know, they're going to use lockers, right? Because I know they are. So I fatigue in front of them, and they go insta down. Strider, because Iron Will's back. Plus, it's nice to hear through the wall while you're rushing. And Whispers is for distortion users and people who hide.
You prefer Whispers over Spies?
Definitely.
Okay, fair enough.
Because Spies only works closer to you, and if people are crouching, they can't disturb crows.
That's true.
And if you disturb a crow, then that goes your info. If you're using Whispers, you can use like triangulation and figure out where they are. I don't know why Whispers became out of meta. It's so good still.
It's
like
it's difficult to use.
So like okay, Blood Lodge. If someone's at main, you enter, it turns on, walk back, go to the right, enter, see where it turns on, and then you know where the survivor is.
Right. I think you just proved my point, though.
What, people don't have a brain in this game?
No, I didn't. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it's more difficult to use than other tracking perks.
That is true. Yeah.
I'm not saying
it also helps with finding slugs.
Honestly, I think I don't know how overpowered this would be. I feel like if Whispers didn't work on hooked survivors, I think more people would run it.
Oh my god, I hate that too. Yeah.
But
I think it's because it's an old perk. They're not acknowledging it exists. So they're like, oh my.
Also,
buckle up.
Also, door game. If you have Whispers, you win.
Yeah. Old buckle up. You know how it gave you like endurance after you hit someone. Was it We're Gonna Live Forever? That perk exists. That perk gives you endurance, but you have to do something to get it. They totally forgot that perk to exist. I bet you $100 they totally forgot that existed.
Well, what about Soul Guard?
Soul Guard as well. Yeah, they probably that hasn't even been in the shrine. I'm pretty sure.
No, I think it finally has. I think that was an old thing. None of Cheryl's perks were in the shrine for like 4 years.
Yeah. But like, it's just funny. Like they forget perks exist, and they're like, "Ooh, let's buff this perk."
My thing with that was one of my suggestions for the buckle up for the people thing was just make it so buckle up only works on the person getting you up, and then Soul Guard exists. So now if you want it, there has to be 3 perks in play.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
they just forget perks exist. But
funny thing, I actually saw Soul Guard last night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. I haven't seen it in a while.
It was really it was out of fucking nowhere. Unbreakable Soul Guard. I'm not kidding.
Nice.
It was on Hawkins. I remember distinctly Quentin had it. And the last build?
Bloodpoint. So Thrill, Distressing, Beast of Prey, and Painter's. Painter's is for breaking gens, so I get Brutality. That's like I literally don't care if I'm getting gen regression or not. I just want it. So I get Brutality because I don't kick enough gens. I don't really need to.
I mean, I have a brain off build. I run it basically on every killer, but it's lethal, barbecue, save, and whatever else I happen to want to run. Even if save doesn't work on the killer, I'll usually still run it.
Oh my god, that used to be my old build for Blight before like the save change. I was running save Franklin's Noed Lightborn.
Yeah, a Lightborn's usually the fourth perk when I'm off stream. Like I tell people, it's like it's my brain off build. It's like I don't care if I win or lose. I just want to play the game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, but you got to think about saving your saves. No, you don't.
Oh no, I hit the obsession. Oh well, like yeah, not the end of the world. I'm Blight.
I don't think people realize how good 4 stacks of save is. Like,
It's enough. Like
yeah.
that's already enough. What was I gonna say? Like my RPD clip. Have you seen
Mhm.
it? Yeah, I was running that. I was running that build during that clip.
um, shit. What was I gonna? Was I was talking about 2v8? Sorry, trying to find my
Uh,
questions again. Um, but I mean that's pretty much it. You don't really stream that much, so you don't like switch it up or anything like that. Every now and again.
no, I usually don't run like perk builds
Hmm.
that orient around something. Like I barely run totem builds kind of thing. I try in like scrims and stuff. I run rune and surveillance sometimes
Hmm.
because it's free info. Like oh my god. Um,
Thoughts on
it's
Ruin, by
like
the way, right now.
I th- I think it needs to be 125 or 150,
Hmm.
but I'm okay of how it works right now.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's like super good, but I do think it is a little slept on a little bit. Um, Once again, whenever I say that, I'm not saying it's like S tier. I'm just saying like I think people underestimate how decent it is. Because most people will say it's useless.
It
Um,
can be. Um,
I don't know. I think on some killers is actually pretty okay. I run it on Nemesis still. I think he's one of the better users of it, and Sadako also. Killers that can force survivors off of gens without actually being there, I think it's okay on.
yeah.
Um, but moving on, and this is probably going to be the longest section of this entire thing, ironically. Uh, State of the game. This kind of leads into the whole Ruin and Whispers conversation, actually. Uh, how would you say the state of the game is at the moment?
If we're comparing it to like previous states, I think it's in a pretty good spot.
Mm-hmm.
There are still a lot of bugs. Like this was a recently buggy patch if we're
Right.
going by bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know some people do that. They go by bugs and like, it's a bad state. But if we're like ignoring some of that, then I think it's okay.
I think considering most of the bugs have been kind of fixed to this, well, not most, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, but since most of the bugs, especially from that one particular patch, have been fixed, I would go off of that. I'm gonna date this a little bit, but Dracula just came out, and I know a lot of people. Um, who else got changed on the patch? Was it just Dracula?
I I haven't been paying attention to this patch. I'm gonna be real. I saw furry killer and I was like, ooh. And went back to playing Dress to Impress.
um, it's I don't know. It like even with like 2v8 being in the game, I think 2v8 is. I'm curious because I actually haven't asked anybody this really. What are your thoughts on 2v8?
I I only played it just yesterday, actually.
Really?
I haven't I like the base game mode. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
I like what they were doing with it. I like the idea of it. Just not for me, right? Killer is super strong compared to Survivor. Because like if the killers are just like teaming up like in chases, then it's just a GG. Um,
I,
so if it, I mean like if the killers have like a brain, obviously if they're like good at the game. But if they're like 50-hour players playing killer, and it's like it just depends, right? What was I gonna say? They should reward killers for using. I like the team oriented stuff.
mhm.
I like if you're playing one killer with another killer, you get like these bonuses. But they should also reward you for splitting up as well.
I
Um,
think the idea was I think the idea they had was the killers would be splitting up because if they didn't, the gens would be going fast enough to where it would kind of compensate itself out. But it doesn't often work that way.
yeah, it really doesn't. But I love the idea that they were doing. I'm glad that something that was being asked a lot by the community got in.
Mm-hmm.
But it just wasn't for me. But I'm totally fine with it.
Have you been playing normal games with it being out?
Yep.
Oh,
That's all I actually haven't been playing much DBD recently
mm.
because the queues.
Yeah, I took basically
Um
2 weeks off.
oh my god, yeah. So I've been playing more of my other games.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been playing the base game mode mostly, yeah. I played Nurse Huntress. I was Huntress.
Mm-hmm.
And we were getting like basically 6Ks with like the other two survivors escaping before like even 5 gens, right?
Mm-hmm. I think I don't know. I hope obviously they need to add more killers, but that's something that happens with time. I think as far as like the base mechanics of it, I think we need more survivor classes. I think there does need to be some incentive to not continuously sandwich people. Um, but I don't know how they would fix that.
3 health states.
That's not a.
If you're getting chased by 2 killers, you have endurance on your 3rd hit.
Mm,
It'll stop 2 tapping.
it would, but
Um,
what if it's just Huntress on the other side of the map?
then they get rewarded for having a skill shot.
Okay, fair enough. Um, what about the Billy exposed thing?
Um, that rarely happens unless you're like really trying for it.
I mean, that's pretty much all. When I played, that's all I did.
That's all you did, yeah.
I would
Uh,
my friend was playing Wraith, and I would literally just go around the map, drive bying everybody, making them exposed
how long are they exposed for, by the way? I don't
until you stop.
until oh shit. Okay,
Yeah,
I did not know that. Okay, then yeah, that's kind of viable. Then yeah, I
yeah. You didn't know that?
no, I thought it was just like
No, no, no,
if
no.
you're near Billy.
If
Um,
if he drives by you, I don't know the range. I think it's 12 meters. If he drives by you, you're exposed until you stop,
oh wow, okay.
and then there's like a 2 second
Um,
buffer after you like hit
but
something.
that also rewards the Billy player for traversing the whole map without stopping. Because then the Wraith is chasing one survivor at a time
Yeah,
as
but
well
the other
without
survivors
Billy
don't
doing
know
anything.
that. So they're
That's the
trying they're
survivor.
they're trying to dodge the Billy.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you
But
are
then one,
chasing 2 people at the same time.
yeah, you're putting pressure around the map, but
Yeah.
like compared to like an actual chase,
I
I would say it's decently balanced. It might need a few tweaks. Like you can only expose X amount of survivors.
because that was the
I
thing.
would say maybe
I think the most we got in one go was 6.
6. Damn.
Yeah. Well, I was because it was cold wind. You can just go around the
Yeah.
yeah. You can just go around
Yeah.
the edge of the map the whole time. That's all I was doing.
Um,
I would literally I would start from main building. I would like find somebody, tell them I found them, drive by them, go to the edge of the map, and just keep going around until I tagged everybody.
yeah, I just tried going for shots on huntress from across the map while my nurse friend was chasing them because they're paying attention to the nurse mostly.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
but like I do think like more killers will definitely spice it up too because I know a lot of people are sick of hunters right now.
what I would love, this is more of a bias thing, but like Blight, if they did for Halloween blighted killer event 2v8, they get to sell their skins with some blighted effects, and that would be pretty cool.
I you know some people on the inside. I do too. I actually know some things that are coming this Halloween.
Mm,
I know a couple people or a couple mains are going to be very happy this Halloween. Um, uh,
I like all the blighted skins. I like
yeah, I like most of them. I think a couple of them could use some tweaks. I think Plagues isn't that great.
the spirit.
Spirits. Um, like I still hold the opinion Legion is the best one.
Oh yeah,
It like they took a concept and they ran with it, and I think it was really cool. Uh, and I'm glad to see more licensed killers are starting to get blighted skins. There are some killers that definitely need them that haven't gotten them. Cough cough
they
Deathslinger.
yeah, because you know why? If Death Singers gets it, my Arena gets it too.
Oh,
So I'll vouch for that.
you're a Zarina man?
Yeah. Oh
Hell
yeah.
yeah! All right, there we go. I don't meet many in the wild anymore. Um,
Zarina's movement. Reason I play it because Zarina's movement is closest to old movement in my opinion.
I play her because I thought red herring was funny.
That's pretty basic.
I don't run red herring anymore, but yeah, I play her because red herring is fun. It was funny when I started playing the game.
Yeah.
Because I was very committed. Everyone was saying it was so bad, like there's no way to get use out of it. I was like, I'm gonna get use out of it. I'm gonna find some way to make this work.
So you do if when blast mine before you could just like put it on the gen without it being progress. Blast mine red herring,
Mm.
right? Just like tap it.
Yeah, but
Like get red herring on it. Put blast mine.
is it worth it though? Does that actually do anything?
Yes. 6 seconds of stall time and the killer's away from all the other gens that are getting pressured.
Oh, yeah, but you have to go across the map to that gen first.
Potato tomato.
My suggestion for changing red herring, I actually talked about this last night, was while you're on a gen, it has a 60-second cooldown, but when you hit a great skill check, another gen that's not being worked on does the sound effect.
That's interesting.
I would love to see it. I also found it strange that we just had a patch that like changed all of the it buffed all of like the diversion perks. Like
Yeah.
and red herring wasn't in it.
Also, are we still in game balance, by the way?
We're on state of the game, just
Okay.
in general.
Because I know many people have this opinion. Adding a token system to perks.
Yeah, a lot of them I think need token systems.
Because I was the first time I thought about this, I was playing Hollow Knight. I'm like, this would work well with DBD. Because in if have you ever played Hollow Knight?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know about overcharging charms.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that, but you get a debuff on your killer power.
Huh.
Right? That'd be kind of freaky.
Yeah, that would be kind of a nice thing. I think we need more perks like Dark Arrogance.
Dark
Arrogance.
Dark.
It's the worst worst bamboozle.
Is this the Vecna one?
Yes.
Oh, the vaulting.
Yeah. I think we need more perks with downsides. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think it definitely needs to be a thing. I think we need once again, there's some ideas for perks that like I feel like haven't been explored enough. As far as add-ons go, a friend of mine, Kaiser, did a video on it last night. Actually, I think BFFs on Legion is a add-on concept that needs to be added to more killers.
Yes, I love. Okay, I played Legion like a few times around BFF. It's one of my favorite add-ons to run. It's so fun to get like value out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it used enough.
Like I feel like token based add-ons are a very interesting concept that I am still surprised we haven't seen except on Legion's rework. It's so strange. I had an idea for one for Pyramid Head where like if you hit them with like if you hit more than one person, you get a token, and for every token it like increases the range.
That actually would be cool. I feel like that would be like a purple or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, BFFs is a purple.
Yeah.
But like something like that, like or like on Nemesis, like
more like risk over reward kind of thing.
Yeah. Because I mean, how often, other than like underhook, how often are you hitting two people with your thing on Pyramid Head? Like not that often.
That should be the condition when you're like 12 meters away from a hooked survivor. If you hit two or more survivors,
or they could just make it take a health state so it doesn't count the endurance.
Yeah, that can also work.
And then there's like I mean, Pyramid Head's add-ons. I've had so many thoughts on this. I still want ones that like change the shape. Like I want one that like makes it a cone but like halves the range.
that would be funny.
Me and Fury were talking about this one where like you shoot in front of you and behind you, but you can't move when you do it.
That's pretty cool.
Because Doctor has stuff like that, where like it changes the shape of the shock.
Yeah.
So I think it would be very interesting if we tried that on more killers. I think add-ons a lot of times are just really, really boring.
Add-ons just need to be more creative instead of just like increase speed for Blight. increased rush amount. Right? I like how they do that because it fits the killer, but to a point it kind of gets boring. Like purple and above, they did it perfect for Blight.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Purple and Eerie, even though the Eerie's were like so annoying.
I liked the reworked Eerie, the one that lets you just rush forever. I think
Have you seen my GIF?
no.
Oh my! I need to get it to you while you're explaining this.
But like, I like the idea. I just feel like they should have given it like a really big downside. I think if they gave it like a 40-second cooldown or something, like I think it would have been fine.
Yeah, they executed that very poorly.
Um,
But like,
what does it do now? I know they changed it completely.
it's turn rate. No, is it turn rate? I don't know. But it's the Eerie add-on. One of the Eerie add-ons now is worse than a green add-on.
It's
Wow.
I don't know. It's just
but like old add-ons for Blight were perfect. Like purple, every single purple had a unique ability.
mm-hmm.
Every single Eerie had a unique ability. It wasn't just increase your speed by 30%. No, it's like get a hit with the lethal rush, all pallets are blocked around you. Or while you're rushing, survivors get a difficult skill check. Or like your rushes, you're undetectable. Like it was interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can make builds around that. That was the only perk build I've ever ran was anti-healing build with soul chemical.
Yeah.
On Blight. And just picking the game or midwich, rushing around and seeing like all the skill checks fail. It was so fun.
It's something like I feel like I kind of feel like they did that a little bit with Dracula, honestly.
Yeah, with the Eerie, oh my god, the one I think exit gates.
There's an Eerie one. There's a purple one too that does the same thing, but around you when a gen pops.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Are they good? No, not really, but they're fun.
They can be, but like they're more fun.
Yeah, they're fun. I can't wait to see the clips from them. And then he also has an add-on. This better change on live. He has an add-on called Medusa Head. Do you know what it does?
No.
If you're in bat form and you teleport to a vault location and hit a survivor during the teleport, they're blinded for 10 seconds.
That's pretty funny.
That's a purple.
What's a purple? Why is it a purple?
Purple.
That should not be a purple.
My suggestion is just change it to exhausted, and I think it's fine.
Yeah, that would be worth fun.
Blinded, for one, isn't that great of a status effect, even though I do think people underlook it sometimes. But regardless, though, 10 seconds of it for something that's not easy to do.
Yeah, because you're going to be mid-chase, right? So exhausted would work better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's just like Chucky has an exhausted add-on that I have claimed I still think needs to be changed to oblivious and not exhausted. It's the plastic bag one. If a footstep when he activates Hidey Ho, the footstep spawn. If someone steps on them, they're exhausted for I think it's 15 seconds. Thing is, it almost never hits people in chase. It hits people on gens though. So my suggestion is make it oblivious.
Wait, I just thought of something. Run that add-on with Fearmonger, and then boom. Because like if they're on the gen, then the exhaustion doesn't go down.
No, it doesn't. The point is like it's hitting the people you're not chasing.
Yeah, like it should be chase oriented more.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well, no, that's why I say make it oblivious, because if it's hitting the people you're not chasing, if it hits someone on a gen, you can actually use oblivious on Chucky.
Devs need to playtest the game more.
It also like I've said this so many times. Oblivious is one of the most powerful effects on Chucky. Because he has this lullaby that happens when he's undetectable, and that doesn't happen.
Is that a little ring?
So within
that's TR.
Yeah, if he's within 12 meters of a survivor, which is the exact range of a slice and dice, he's undetectable for any reason. It doesn't have to be his power. It can be insidious, trail of torment, unforeseen, etc. He lets out a chuckle every half a second. That's directional.
That's actually smart by the developer.
It is. It's really smart.
Okay. Also, this is the thing. If you saw it,
I did. But that's why I say Oblivious is really strong in him, because if you're using line of sight blockers while you're running up on people, they're not seeing you coming anyways, and now they're not hearing you coming. I also like running Soak Pillow on him because I think having a lower terror ace is actually really more powerful than people realize on him.
Did they change Heg, by the way?
Yeah, they changed it
I
little
just,
while ago.
I mean, when you activate a trap, you go deaf. Is that an add-on or is that her
That's
base?
an add-on.
Okay, that's her hinder add-on, right?
No. It's deafened ear.
Oh, def
I don't know if it's
okay.
called deafened ear, but it's the ear. Yeah, it just deafens you if you activate a trap.
They should use deafen more because it's on knockout. That's the only perk that I know that has it. They should
So the
do
problem
that
with
more.
deafen is people with tinnitus.
Oh, does it actually mess with them?
Yes, a
I
lot.
see.
There are some people who will go against who will get hit with deafen either from that or that, and they have the DC.
Oh, damn.
If they do start putting deafen on more things, because I think they should, I think it should be changed to literally just your all sound stops. There's no sound effect associated with
Like
it.
when you're plaything, you're getting chased by killers. No,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there's no like chase sound, like the
yeah.
TR kind of thing. Yeah,
I mean, accessibility is a thing that I think behavior is really slumping on a lot recently.
yeah.
And I think we're
I for one,
I think
I
we're
for one
at a
being
point.
colorblind. Yeah,
Yeah, I think we're at a point in this game though where it needs to be addressed more often. I do agree that like some things aren't feasible, but like others are. Like an actual colorblind mode is feasible. um,
yeah. So like for me, I have ones that are like built in on my monitor,
mhm,
kind of thing. Um, and and then there's like the Windows one I use as well.
yeah,
If my monitor's bugging out, because it's old. so, um, so sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and then sometimes I use like the Windows one, and that's perfect for me. Even like the Fortnite one,
yeah,
the Fortnite's colorblind options is perfect, and they're also on Unreal Engine. I'm pretty sure it's Unreal's colorblind options.
yeah. I'm
Um,
curious if it's gonna happen soon since they switched.
it should because they're on E5, right? Or
Yeah,
U5. Yeah. So they should, yeah, it should be easy to switch.
I think.
And that's a great example to bring up. Sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good.
Um, is Fortnite with audio cues for
Hmm.
deaf people.
Yep.
Everyone uses it, even if they're not deaf,
Yeah.
right? So I think behavior looks at that and like are worried about adding some things for that. So that's why visual heartbeat, if you know how to use it when you're
Hmm.
not deaf,
Yeah.
it's really good. But like,
I mean, there's a
I like
line
people
I
doing it.
feel, but I think I think like me and David were talking about Spirit, how Spirit could get Chucky's footsteps when she's cloaked. Um, so if she's close enough, you still see the footsteps, so you don't have to. If you're hard of hearing, you can still kind of counter her.
Yeah, because her only counter, if you're hard of hearing, is looking at grass and stuff.
Right. So I think
Um,
like adding a footstep mechanic to Spirit would help that, and I think that would be an accessibility, not a feature, that would just help for accessibility reasons. Um,
yeah.
there's other things that are more difficult. I know some people who can't play Nurse because of motion sickness, and I don't. Maybe I'm just uneducated. I don't know how they could fix that.
Like, you mean with the teleporting?
Yes. Well, no,
You can just,
with the fatigue.
oh, with the fatigue, you could just have a toggle where her screen doesn't shake.
Yeah, but isn't part of the balance that you can't see where the survivors are going exactly?
Yeah, you can look at the ground and make your screen dark, but just don't
Oh,
make
I
the
see.
screen shake back and forth.
Oh, okay, I
Same
see
with
what you mean.
Blight. He used to have the bug. I'm not sure if it's still in. Where so one of them is still in the game. Double fatiguing.
Mhm.
Um, do you know about that at all?
No.
If a blight, it's kind of weird. If a blight gets a hit like too quickly with his swing, and with in a certain distance with his or a certain time between his rush, he can fatigue twice.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if it's like a tick server thing or like what it is, but basically, let's say he uses all five of his rushes and he fatigues, he could fatigue again, giving the survivor more distance. First of all, and second of all, it's really disorienting for the blight player. And there was another one when he breaks a pallet to counteract. So on old Blight, if you break a pallet, your rushes will regen as you broke the pallet. On new Blight, it doesn't do that anymore. That's how they fixed it. But it makes your screen shake really fast. And that's a big cause for motion sickness. So it's just like if they have a toggle option to make the screen more static when there's like shaking things on your screen, that's like an easy fix, right?
Right.
And like I also, even though I don't like get motion sick easily, I toggle those on usually because it's just easier for me to see things in the first place, right?
I mean, and I've that's the problem with it though. At what point is it a feature, and at what point should it just be part of the game?
True.
Right. It's like if everyone's going to use it, why not just make it part of the base game?
Yeah, that's another line they need to address.
It's just like with like I said with filters. It's like everyone uses filters. Why not just add
more customization?
Yeah, more customization options in game to kind of help with it. Same with I don't know, because it's like I played Fortnite for the first time in like 2 years a few days ago, and I didn't even know about the audio thing. I never clicked or opted into it. It's on by default.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Because like so many people use it, so they're probably like, "Oh, might as well put it on now."
Yeah, so it's like it's on by default. So like I have to go in and turn it off. I don't, but like I could. Um, but it's the same thing, and this kind of like stems a little bit away from that, but to a different kind of accessibility, and that would be like phobia filters. That's a more touchy subject, as I learned today in my comments section.
Because some people, if they hear words, they also get really scared. Like I have a friend who's scared of injections, like from doctors and stuff. Like you know what I'm talking about, like syringes.
Well,
and if I actually say the word, they literally freeze.
It's right? One of those things though where I think with Dead by Daylight in particular, I think the issue with phobia filters, and I know this is technically a slippery slope argument, and this has always been my argument for it. Do we only do the common phobias? And even then, what classifies common?
Yeah, it's a hard thing to figure out. Like, if you played Content Warning, that would like an arachnophobia filter. Same with what's that other called? Grounded, the survival game.
Grounded has it too.
Yeah, they have it too as well. Pretty sure they add top hats to the spiders.
But no, it's just a box with the word spider.
No, I mean for Grounded, I think.
No, they turn them into like fruit. I thought
maybe, but yeah, they like stuff like that because that's more of like that's a known general phobia, right? But like for this game, you have Plague, right?
Clown.
You have Clown,
Chucky.
Oh yeah. I forgot about Chucky. Yeah, Chucky itself.
Fear of dolls. Well,
Twins.
No. Fear of dolls.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like Twins to an extent as well. Like there's probably probably everyone has a phobia to a certain killer. To be fair.
But it's and even some skins like Dredge's doll skin. I know that freaks a lot of people out. But the question becomes like where is that line drawn? How much should we put in? Like I have a phobia of crows. I'm deathly terrified of crows.
Yeah, I know people that like generally just birds scare them. Yeah.
And I don't mean I'm not trying to be mean when I say this, but it's like thin out of do you know what I'm gonna mispronounce this because of course they make it long. Thalassophobia. Do you know what that is?
Is that the water fear of ocean?
Fear of open water.
Yeah, I have that too.
Yeah. I cannot play Subnautica.
Yeah. Mine's more like if I can't see anything around me, I will. Okay. Even though like I have done lifeguarding. Okay. If that happens to me, I am drowning. Like, I have played Subnautica before. Um, I got to the point in the game where I lost a lot of progress, and like the submarines that you can drive in the game,
Mm-hmm.
so I died, and my submarine was like 2,000 meters out, and I didn't have any other mode of transportation except for swimming.
Mm-hmm.
I uninstalled the game.
Well, but I mean that's the
Right?
thing. Where I couldn't make it 5 minutes into Subnautica.
Yeah.
The moment I got in the water, I
Um.
was like, I can't do this, and I uninstalled it. But once again with Dead by Daylight, the question becomes, how much do we, if we do start adding phobia filters, where do we draw the line? Where do we stop? How do we do it? Because like how like clowns in the game
Yeah. You
should
can't really do much about clown or like plague, for example, because
well,
that's their whole thing.
client side audio for plague.
Yeah, that can work. Or like the dredge doll skin, for example. Make it, if someone has that equipped, it just shows the default dredge skin.
Yeah, you could just have it. There's a setting in some games where you can just have people in their default skins
Yeah.
because it's client
Um.
based. Um,
Yeah.
but for
And that
clown,
game, this game does have client stuff and server stuff.
I mean, you could just make it so if you turn on like the chlorophobia filter, like it just makes him low res or something, so you can't really tell.
Yeah, it'll be like it'll be hard to adjust because like everyone's different, right? Like
Yeah,
hearing your fear of like open water compared to mine, yours sounds more severe than mine. But to be fair, I do thug it out most of the time.
I can't like a game
I
like
try to thug it out.
as a child. I remember this very distinctly. I was playing Fallout 3. There's a mission where you have to go underneath Rivet City, and you have to go in the water and go to the other side. I didn't do it for like 2 weeks. That's a game where there's nothing in the water. Nothing can attack you in the water. You're perfectly safe. I couldn't do it. I can now, but like back then, like no,
Yeah,
I am that scared of open water. But the question becomes like, should like I think Subnautica it would be a good example. Should they add a filter for people like me?
they can't do that. Okay, so like, do you play Roblox at all? It's a funny game.
There is a way they can do it.
So
There's a game
on
that's done it.
Roblox, there's a new game that came out.
I know which one you're talking about. I made a tweet about it.
If you do a thalassophobia filter, it kicks you from the game. I found that, okay, it's mean, but it's really funny.
I said the same thing.
Right? Because I I get it because the whole game's based underwater, so like you shouldn't be playing the game in the first place if you're actually deathly scared, right?
Right.
But if for me, for example, I want to thug it out. Like I want to experience the game because I'm gonna be scared shitless.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I will. But when I play it with my friends and stuff, I want to play with them and be like have fun,
Mm-hmm.
and they can laugh at me, make jokes about me. Um, but like for Subnautica, it's really hard to do that. The only thing I can do, there's mods. There's a mod in the game where it removes all the water
Yeah.
and you're walking around. But instead, you can make it removes all the water. There's no like water on the map, but you can like swim around still, kind of thing. But there's no water,
There's
so you can do
one.
something like that.
There's one that just changes
Um,
the color of the water,
yeah,
and I mean that usually is enough. Kind of tricks the brain a little bit. But like a friend of mine has she's gonna hate me because I can't remember the name of the phobia. It's the fear of mushrooms.
huh? I've never heard something like that.
Yeah, it's not super common from what I understand, but yeah, if she loads into Toba Landing though, she can't play. She DCs.
Is it just like, huh? I've never heard about this. That's interesting.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just like because it's like nurtured. Most phobias,
most.
most phobias are nurtured, right?
Do you know why the fear of spiders and snakes is so common?
Because primal days
Yes,
and shit. Yeah.
that's why.
Um, but like some are nurtured, some are like nature, right?
Hmm.
So for DBD, I would say start with things that are like more common. Like you can like just Google like top 10 common phobias, right? And fix those as soon as possible. And then ask your community
Hmm.
what you want, right? But from behavior, I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
They don't really, unless they do like a survey.
Even then, I don't think it would do much.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard communicating from like developer to player base, right?
And then like I said, there's just some that are just like I said, I don't have like a massive phobia of the crows in the game. Real life crows, I'm fucking terrified of.
I love crows. They're my favorite
Oh
birds.
my god, I fucking hate crows.
Because I like them because they're so smart.
That's why I'm scared of them. That's why I'm
They can
terrified of
overthrow
crows.
the human race. Yeah.
Any animal that can learn how to use a vending machine? No, no.
Yeah. Like I have a friend like deathly scared of birds, and there's this horror movie based on birds, like crows specifically.
Yeah.
But like the whole thing is like crows turn evil. They carry a flu that they're immune to.
It's
targeting people, blah blah blah, and they're like they cannot put it on at all, right? It's supposed to be horror, right? It's like some people probably like they physically cannot, right? And it's just also hard to like. I didn't even know about the mushroom fear.
Yeah, that's a
like you can't fix everything, right? But like there is some things you can do.
I was gonna say, I understand they can't fix or like take into account every phobia. It would be nice to see them try, though. I think that's my main conceit with it.
Yeah, if they show an attempt, that's doing something.
It's just like with like the flashlight thing. It's like, would it be so hard to have a toggle where when you get blinded, your screen goes black?
So many games have that. So many games.
Or what's the other one? I say this a lot when I'm playing Chucky, because I use audio a lot to track. I'm not sensitive to sound. There's another thing for it. It's the opposite of sensitivity. It's when like it's not overstimulation necessarily, but like if I hear too much, I like shut down.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
So
your brain just turns off, kind of thing.
So like when I'm playing Chucky and it's like I'm chasing someone, listening for their footsteps, and like I hear them vault, and then I hear a gen break on the other side of the map, and then let's say in theory I'm running Tinkerer, and that goes off, and it's like, and then someone hops in a locker for no reason on the other side of the map. It's like, okay,
brain overload
kind of thing. I can't do anything. Or like the Mori thing. Like I know some people were asking a little while ago if there should be an option to when a Mori happens, you have an option to not watch it.
Yeah, like a black screen kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because that would help with one, content creation, because lots of Moris on YouTube are like demonetized, and two, like fears and shit.
Yeah. Not even fears necessarily, just some people just find it very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's also true.
And, you know, it's always a slippery slope argument because, you know, like I said, where do we draw the line? Where do we even start the line?
To begin with. And not everyone has experience on every phobia, right? No one's like John phobia over here, knows everything about it, kind of thing.
Also, that sound thing is why I hate Toba so much. I can't hear shit on that, man.
I've gone to the point of playing this game too much. I tune out the boon noise. My brain has just tuned it out.
Oh my god!
So like when I see a boon on the ground, I'm like, when did this get placed? Like almost every single time because of the boon meta. I was playing during that. Like almost every single second there would be a boon noise. I think my brain tuned it out.
It's just one of those things. Like I said, it's just like I get where people are coming from to a degree. There are some people very aggressive on the don't add side who are just being very dumb. But like, oh no, we can't baby players like that. Okay, shut up. But you know, there's arguments on both sides for why it should and shouldn't be a thing. And I think the biggest argument that often gets brought up is, at the end of the day, it is your choice to play the game.
Yeah.
It's like I said, the Subnautica example is the one I always bring up because I think it's one of the better ones. It's like, I'm not going to go complaining to the devs that there's no filter for this.
Yeah, because that's like their game. Like that's the whole point is Ocean, right?
Yeah, and then with Dead by Daylight, I mean, we all say it's not a horror game, but it is listed as a horror game.
Yeah, the like again with your choice if you want to play the game or not. Like I wanted to play Subnautica, because it's going to be funny for other people to watch me. Like that was the whole point.
Right.
So I chose to play the game knowing full well what I was doing to myself. And it's just like it just needs to be a big talk or a big discussion happening soon.
I think people are scared to have the discussion. I think it's one of those things.
Yeah.
I think people are just scared to have the discussion.
Yeah, because they don't want to.
It can get heated.
What is it?
And it can sound like some things can sound just
condescending kind of thing.
Yeah. Condescending and what's the other word I would use? Dismissive.
Yeah.
Like with the mushroom phobia. Like I'm not trying to be dismissive to the person who has it. I won't name them. If people know, they know. But it is not a very common phobia. So even if they do start adding phobia filters, that would probably be one of the last ones they ever do add, if they can even do it.
Or if they will even do it to begin with, right?
Yeah.
Because like you also have to look at your player base. Because if your player base, like for motion sickness, they removed it from Clown, your player base was vocalizing that, right?
For years.
So they're like, oh, this is an issue. We need to fix this, and they do, right? So if the devs can look at like the community, see what they want vocalized to being changed, like for stuff like that, accessibility, phobias, etc. Just look at that, have a discussion, figure it out.
The other thing with though is like it wouldn't come up on too many, but balancing would have to be a thing on some of it. Especially like if for some of the audio ones. Because like would Spirit need to be buffed if you could see her footsteps? If we gave her an audio ring when you're playing her, so people who are hard of hearing can play her, would she need to be nerfed?
I think I know a good fix for Spirit. Kind of tangent off, but like the visual heartbeat.
Yeah.
It could have like a little arrow.
When
where she is. Because if you can hear, then you're gonna be able to hear it. But if you're not, you're like, oh, she's there.
What about playing as her though?
When I don't know how to, you can't really fix that. I'm gonna be so real with you. I don't think there's a good way to fix that without like completely ruining the killer. Right?
And unfortunately, and that's the other argument I hear sometimes for accessibility things is that it limits design space. Because if we're making the game accessible, like if we're adding a bunch of accessibility features for hard of hearing people or deaf people in general, I know they're not the same. And just as an example, that means you can't ever use audio as like a feature, technically speaking. Like I said, that would mean Spirit couldn't exist.
Yeah.
And some people would argue that means that the game is more limited on what it can do.
Like lots of there's a deaf player I versed.
Is it Storms?
Called Mikey the Potato.
Oh, okay.
I versed him on my Huntress.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asking him because he was dodging like insane. I'm like, I didn't know he was deaf. I was like, you were paying attention really well. And she's like, no, I was just doing my own thing. So I was missing. So I was just being shit, I guess. But on my screen, it looked like he was dodging all the time, and I thought he was just like very focused on the shing and all that.
Oh God, we're gonna bring up the podcast question now, aren't we?
What?
So there's a question I ask in every podcast. Did they dodge or did they miss?
Depends on the killer and situation.
Okay.
Let's go with
what classifies one or the other.
Depending if the survivor does it deliberately, and depending if you like actually like miss. Like, so it can be both and it can be one, right?
It can't be both.
It can.
No, it can't.
It can be.
No, they both mean different things. It can't be both.
The survivor dodges and you end up missing.
Yeah, but did you miss because they dodged, or did you miss because you missed?
If they're actively, it depends on the situation, right?
Well, here's the thing: because if you're good enough, you shouldn't ever miss. You should be able to predict the dodge.
So, let's say Blight flaring, right? If if I'm on my last rush, survivor goes around a corner, and I haven't seen them flare before, and I flick and they flare, they dodged, right? I didn't read the situation, so they dodged, right? But if I were to like flick around a corner and like my cane doesn't hit the survivor, that's my fault. I missed. Right?
Okay.
Like even if they go wide and I come up, like even if they go wide to dodge my hit, but I predict it, I still miss, right? If I miss, like I still miss. That's my fault because I predicted it. I read the situation, but I still end up missing.
Okay. You're in a dead zone.
Right?
You're in.
Z-Wall. Let's go Z-Wall.
No, I'm just gonna use a dead zone. So you're
Z-Wall window blocked.
So you're in a dead zone versus a huntress.
Okay.
You're running in a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
The hatchet doesn't hit.
Did I move or just run straight?
You just ran straight.
They misread and missed.
They misread and missed?
Yeah, because I didn't move. They missed themselves.
If you move to the left during it, is it and they miss? Is that then a dodge?
That is a dodge.
That's a dodge, not a miss.
They misread the situation and they missed because I dodged.
Okay. What if you move to the left and they still hit you?
Then they read the situation right, and
okay.
They read the situation correctly.
Now, but in theory,
it's like, okay, so let's say a huntress goes around like back of shack, right? I expect a survivor to go wide to dodge my hatchet. If I throw it wide and they end up going just staying close, I missed. Right? They didn't dodge anything. If I throw it close and they move out and I miss, they dodged it.
But shouldn't you be good enough to predict that they're not going to go wide, though?
No. You can't always be good enough for that. Even Squirtle.
I know.
No one's ever get to always win every single 50-50.
Right, and but that's why I bring up the question, just because I think it's interesting to hear. Because some people legitimately don't know how to answer it.
It just depends on the situation and depends like on the actions.
Yeah, but what is the qualifier for both? Is my question.
It can't really be a qualification. There's no hard. It's not like an FPS shooter where like your crosshair's not on the person. They're still strafing, but your crosshair's not on them. Like you're missing. That's a skill issue.
Right.
Right. But in this game, it's you can't really be that because there's inputs on both sides and it's different for every single killer, every single loop. Right. Like there's too much RNG factors as well, right?
Well, no, I mean, if you hit like if like they duck behind a wall, I mean that wasn't a dodge or a miss. You just hit the wall.
No, that's a miss.
It's not a miss.
They duck behind a wall. You still threw the hatchet.
Yeah, but you can't physically hit them. That's neither.
Let's say they're going around a corner. They go behind a wall. You still throw the hatchet. That's your fault for not calculating.
Yeah, but
you miss.
But you didn't miss. You just there's a wall in the way. It's not a miss.
Let's say they're turning around a corner at shack. You didn't think that they would make that corner. That's your fault. You missed. You didn't.
Okay.
You didn't read the situation. You didn't read how fast the survivor was moving. That's why, let's say, hitting a cross-map hatchet with no aura reading because you saw a survivor. That's skill, right?
Okay.
If the hatchet goes and you miss, that's your fault because you didn't read where the survivor was going.
You're playing Oni at a basic loop. You run up on them in Demon Dash. You swing left. They dodge. They go right.
They dodged. I misread.
But did you miss? Dodged. Is my question.
It's both.
It's both?
Them dodging made me miss. I think the better way to ask this question is if I missed or if they made me miss.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to ask, yeah.
Then you're asking the question wrong a bit then, I would say. I can't really phrase it, but it's more of did they make you miss or did you miss? I think that's a better way to ask that question.
I think it's what I qualify dodging as is making you miss.
Yeah. If I misread the situation, if they dodge right and I go left, they dodged right. They made me miss. But if they go right, I go right. but I didn't flick enough, I missed, right?
The reason I bring up this question a lot is because whenever we're talking about balance and stuff, killers with like powers that had to be aimed, which is most of them, to be fair, um, how much of that did we take into account?
What do you mean?
So in theory, if someone is good enough, they should be hitting every single hit, right?
I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right.
um, if you're designing a killer based on every single hitting, you're designing wrong.
But if someone's good enough, like Squirtle on Huntress, where he's hitting like 90% of his shots,
That's why Huntress has a cooldown for dropping a hatchet, missing a hatchet, and hitting a hatchet. Right?
Right.
That's the problem with Slinger. He can M2 fake really easily. Right? So if someone misses, who cares? His stagger isn't long enough.
Right.
Well, okay. He got buffed, so his stagger isn't long enough now, but it used to be, in my opinion. And if you have like double reload, then it's like, oh well. Right? But if you're designing it around player error, like from both sides of the spectrum, like newer players and skilled players, you have to meet in the middle. And that's kind of what they do with like Huntress, for example. Or what's a killer that gets really punished for letting go of power?
For letting go of power?
Like if they're like what's it called?
Zoning?
Like they're holding, yeah, they're zoning, but they drop it, they go like really slow afterwards. What's a killer that does that?
Unknown.
Unknown?
Yeah, if he doesn't tap it, there's like he moves really slow when he puts it down.
It was fuck, I forget the killer that does it, but like you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, Nemesis, like, Pyramid Head, Tricks, not really, but Trickster.
No, Trickster got buffed, so it doesn't really.
I think it's all the ranged killers, I think.
But like, yeah, it's like you know what I mean. It's just like you have to balance between both sides of the player base.
Yeah, and I agree. It's just like I feel like a lot of us. I mean, we kind of talked about that a little bit with Billy, where it's like
yeah, so
it's like
it's just like
do we meet in the middle of the average of people like me who can barely play him?
So for me, I look at it both sides of the spectrum and how easy you think the killer can get a hit. So like Deathslinger, for example, it's going to be harder for him to get a hit compared to like Unknown, for example, right?
But the problem, though, like I said, would be if someone is good enough, they're hitting like 90% of their shots. How do you balance around that?
You can't really balance around it. You have to. That's the consequence, right? You can't balance around the top 1% of players. No game should be doing that. That's why Fortnite, good example, they have their own separate balance for tourneys, right? In this game, there's no like competitive mode, right? So in like some competitive shooters, you have like bans for some like characters you can pick to balance out like the unbalanced shit, right? So it's really hard to balance it when there's like so much to take account for. That's why it can't always be perfect every single time.
No, of course not.
But usually, if you take the average of something, it's going to turn out better than balancing for like the 1% or like the 90%.
Is it worth it though to make that because it makes them 1% mad though?
If it makes both sides like on kind of like not happy, but neutral. If it makes both sides neutral, then that's good, right? Because in a get, you're always gonna have people mad over whatever, right? The best blights didn't really care about hug tech being removed, right? I would have liked it to be like stayed, but I didn't mind it being removed as much as like other people I know. Not saying I'm like the best like 1% Blight kind of thing, but like just looking at like skill that I know from like Blights I meet in public matches, teach them a little bit, and then like some people that do scrims for DBD only. It's two different reactions, right? And it's just really hard. It's really hard, especially for behavior, considering like the community.
Yeah,
there's always gonna be that circle that doesn't like this.
Yeah, and I brought that up a little bit with the whole difficulty equals how strong a killer should be thing a few times, because that was one of the biggest criticisms I got for that even that question was there's always going to be those players that push the killer to such a limit that there's no way to balance it. So what do you do in that case? Because that's only going to be a very small minority. Do we worry about that minority? And it's just a hard question to like really answer.
Yeah, it's a tough call to make. It is a tough call to make.
Because the ongoing thing with most games that people will bring up, the argument is, well, if you balance for the top, it'll trickle down. That's not always the case.
Yeah.
In theory, it should work that way, but it doesn't.
Yeah, because it's like statistics versus like actual gameplay.
Yeah.
Right. What was I gonna say? I forget. It's just a really hard call to make on how you should balance something, depending if you're calculating it for always hitting or having somewhat of a miss rate, right?
Yeah. Because like when I was talking about the difficulty thing, it's like, okay, are we talking difficulty in the 1v1, the 1v4? And then when we say like a killer's should be good, that's the same thing. Are we talking about in chase, their ability to win, and then what classifies a win?
Yeah. For me, wins go by hooks. I know other people go by kills, but I usually go by hooks.
I mean, to me, like not a win streak, but in general, to me, if you get an 8-hook game, or like a 9-hook game, to me, it's like, okay, you did like decent, like well. That's basically a win.
Both sides did well that game. Yeah. If you get a 9-hook game, and like everyone's second hook, like spread out. I mean, but both sides did well, right?
Yeah.
But you can also get a 9-hook game where it's like 3 kills, right?
Yeah.
So I like going by hooks, but also including depending on like the hook kind of thing. Like if you have like 6 hooks but 2 survivors are dead, or if you have 6 hooks, everyone's alive.
Yeah.
Right? It's 2 different things. So like it's really hard to balance around kills, really hard to balance around like micro versus macro.
Well,
it's hard to decide on how to balance it, right?
Yeah, and then I mean the kills thing. I mean, behaviors said that they want the kill rate to be 60%.
And it is that right now, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that the problem with it, why a lot of players get frustrated by that, is, I mean this in the nicest way possible. I don't think people know how math works. If the killer is getting a 60% kill rate, in theory, what that should mean is that 2 people are dying every match. Sometimes you're one of those 2 people.
Yeah, and it's a 4v1 asymmetrical. The killer should be stronger, anyways. Right? It's not like the 4 other people against the 1 person should be stronger. No,
I mean there's a
reason the 1 should be stronger.
Yeah, there's a reason Hatch exists. It's as much as I hate Hatch, it's a gimme for the last person.
Yeah,
it's the whole point. But it's like I said, with how the math works, like 2 people getting out every match, give or take, on average, that's what behavior wants. They don't want 4 outs all the time, and unfortunately, you're not always one of those 2 people, and I think that's where the contention comes from.
Because people get mad, they die. Like,
well, once again, we were talking about this last night too. It's like, let's say you get, let's say in theory, you're 1 survivor and you get tunneled the entire match. And let's say in theory you were able to run them around for 5 gens, right? And you die on hook. Killer lost, you lost, your team won. And that
Yeah,
right there is the inherent problem with it.
Yeah, that's what sucks, because everyone has their own win and lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Killer loses if they get, I don't know, like a certain amount of like hooks to kills kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If one survivor dies, the other three escape. That one survivor lost in their eyes,
Yes.
right?
Well, no, even in
But
behavior's eyes.
yeah, but people need to not look at it like that. If I get chased the whole game for 5 gens, but my team gets out, I consider that a win.
Mm-hmm.
I I stalled the killer long enough, so I won in the team aspect.
Right.
That's what people need to see it as teamwork. Like if someone does 4 gens but the other survivors are dying, you guys are all doing your job because you're getting the gens done at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even if like 2 people escape, you still got to that point where 2 people can escape because
Right.
you did a good enough job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's also another thing what people don't realize. What sucks because stronger killers, people expect to escape against the Blight. No, expect a 4K2.
Yeah, for
If
sure.
I get to 2 gens against a good Blight, I consider that a win. Or like a Billy or a Spear. If Billy 4 slowdown and they're like they have a brain, I'm expecting to get only like 2 or 3 gens done. If I
I'll
get down to 1 gen or like all the gens pop but we're all dead, I consider that a win.
I
Yeah.
I do community builds on stream all the time, and people often get like, not weird, but some people get very they ask me how I don't get frustrated by losing with those builds, and it's like because I'm not expecting to win with these.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going into a match and I'm playing, I don't know, Trapper with like undone agitation, I don't know, what's a bad perk? Monstrous Shrine and Hangman's Trick. I'm not expecting to win that match. If I do, cool, but like I don't go in like I go in expecting to lose that.
Yeah.
And some would say it's a bad mentality to have, but it's like I'm handicapping myself purposely. I'm playing one
Yeah.
of the worst
I'm
killers.
choosing this way.
Yeah. It's just like when I play
Like
Chucky with like completely like batshit perks that I know don't work on him. Like I'm not expecting to win that match at all.
yeah,
But
like I play Trapper with corrupt BAM only without using my traps.
mm-hmm,
I just go for M1 chases because I want to turn my brain off.
mm-hmm,
Right? And I expect to not even get 1 kill. I expect to get like 2 hooks at max. And if I tunnel, then maybe I'll expect a kill, right? And people need to think about that. What they expect and what happened, right?
yeah, but I
Like
should be able to win with my meme builds.
yeah, but like perk balance lol.
Well,
Like if you bring one less stronger perk, you lose. Like
that's how it works.
right?
I find it strange the way the community talks about this game sometimes because they treat it like it's something special compared to other games in the sense of like how the balancing works. Even in
It's
Valorant, if you run a team of like the bad agents, you're probably going to lose.
yeah, because there's no team comp, right?
Yeah.
Like people people need to realize it's different because it's an asim game
Mm-hmm.
and it's this big. It's not different, however, in terms of balancing.
Mm-hmm.
Perks, you need to get perks that synergize with yourself and with the team,
Yeah.
right? Like you shouldn't expect to win if you have like no gen perks, right? At least like 1 or 2 people on your team should have like a gen perk, and they should be the people doing gens while the people with the chase builds are chasing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when you like, if you ever watch like scrims and stuff, you'll see every like one is for like ruling because I don't want to repeat it perks, but 2, it's also every single person has a set job to do.
Mm-hmm.
One person has deli and they have lots of unhook perks. One person has gen perks. One person has a tunnel builds, right? It's their job to do that, right? And if people expect to win when they're running distortion length windows every single game with their 4 stack, like every single person, no. Don't expect to get long chases against like M1 killer, maybe win. But if you're versing a killer anywhere that has a brain and has like a decent power, you shouldn't expect to win.
It's yeah. Same with like kill like as much as I do think some of the killers need to be buffed, like and some of them just can't. I've said this before. There is because of how uh, uh, because of how Trapper works, they could buff him to like nurse levels. He'll still never be good.
Yeah, because
He
no
relies
chase
on
power.
yeah, he relies on people messing up.
Or just not having a brain, right? Not looking, not knowing where he started his spawn at,
Uh,
not knowing where his
now,
traps are,
no,
right?
yeah, now I'm not saying that we shouldn't buff a killer like that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying for some killers, their inherent design makes them weaker. Like,
Yeah.
like
And then that
I,
brings up the question, should there be a line drawn in design? But then that would limit it,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
And this game would become boring and stale. Just
yeah.
how people don't like the 4 killers in 2v8, right?
I mean, because like I think Blight and Nurse are good examples. It's like there's no way to nerf them without substantially changing the killer.
Exactly.
Um, Nurse
Blight
will.
base kit is almost perfect, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Um, but like as soon as he has add-ons and perks, then it's like GG.
Yeah, and then yeah, I've heard some people suggest the idea of well, stronger killers shouldn't be able to bring certain perks, but you can't do that because then there's a lack of consistency, and it's like who gets to
I see where they're coming from. Like Blight shouldn't be able to run like pain res or something, right?
right.
Or like agitation.
Hmm.
Uh, but it can work, but it's also the same rule, like as we were talking about before, R6, changing the guns but not the character.
Yeah.
Right? It's not gonna fix anything.
I've said it before with like Nurse. I mean, I've had the nursemaid on here, and it's like we sat there for I think about 30 minutes trying to think of ways to rework Nurse to make her like not necessarily more fun because that's impossible to balance around. I'm gonna say it, and I don't know why
Just
people.
make her more fair.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
thing is, every decision we came up with would just gut the character and make her not Nurse.
Yeah.
And same thing with Blight. It's like I can't think of any like substantial nerfs that wouldn't just make him another killer.
One nerf I do have to nurse is not let her have aura reading when she's using her power.
That would limit her
When
perk choices even more, though. She would just run regression.
she has she has other perks that can reveal the survivor's locations. Instead of using aura, she can use Strider, for example,
Hmm.
or Shadows, or not Spies in the Shadows, like lots of nurses do already.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it,
I don't know.
right?
It's just like with like Spirit. Like me and David were talking about like Nurse Spirit. I brought up the idea of making Spirit an M2 attack. When she comes out of phase, and the argument there was, well, if you do that, the only thing Spirit can run is Gen regression
Yeah,
because she
and
can't.
it just makes that situation all over again just for regression.
Yeah.
Right? Someone in chat said 3 hits for Blight. The
Three.
reason, like for Blight, his base kit is perfectly balanced. It's like Wesker. I think Wesker and Blight were 2 killers that have a good base kit, but add-ons can make them very obnoxious. Same with perks. That's why I think people don't like versing Wesker because he was like every single killer you would verse for like two
Dead by
months.
Wesker for like 2 months.
Yeah, but like their kits are pretty well balanced.
I think Wesker is one of the most balanced killers in the game, if
Yeah,
not the most
like
balanced killer in the game.
that's why so much killers use his code. Like Deathslinger artist, okay, Wesker uses artist code and artist uses Deathslinger code,
Hmm.
and now Blight uses Wesker code,
Pig uses
right?
Huntress code for some reason.
Yeah, I don't see the correlation behind that one, but like
Still one of my
it's just like
favorite.
you you can't change you can't really change that because even if like let's say it takes 3 hits to get a down on Blight,
Hmm.
that won't change much because I can just 2 rush you. if you get 2-rushed by a Blight, just go on the ground for them at that point. Because that's a hit. That's 4 seconds. They get the rushes back, right?
Yeah.
Blights would just play more efficiently and run the more broken add-ons, which is the issue. You don't want them doing that, right? You want their base kit to be enough. Like Wesker, for example, his base kit is perfect, and they gave him add-ons to change his base kit, like make his first dash shorter, but his second dash longer, right? His Eerie add-on, the one that makes everyone infected at the start, incredibly unbalanced in my opinion. Same with the Breaking Pallets one. It's C33 on Blight. It's the exact same thing. Perfect killer base kit, but the add-on for the Eerie is like abysmal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think they should, like, again, back to the add-ons. I think they should focus on rebalancing add-ons and synergy with killer to perk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Nurse got a huge nerf as soon as her attack became special attack.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So if you just have that consistency, you should be okay. It won't be like better, but it would make a lot things more smoother for like the player base and for devs, right? Because then they know somewhat what to expect.
Yeah, and I don't envy the balance team on this game. I do not.
Yeah, they do. They do a pretty good job. Considering how much shit is like in this game, like RNG to perks to killers to survivors, items, offerings, add-ons, they do a decent job. I'm gonna keep it real.
I was
Like,
doing a perk tier list the other day, and I was surprised I knew all the names of all the killer perks.
I could name most of them once I see them.
Yeah, I think I only messed up on one. Oh no. I got Beast of Prey and Territorial Imperative mixed up. It was the only thing I got wrong. But yeah, I mean, there's over 200 perks in this game. We're at 38 killers now. It's either 38 or 37.
Yeah.
Like, I do not envy the balance team at all. And I kind of alluded to it a second ago, but it's like you can't balance around fun either. Like,
Yeah, no. That needs to be its own game mode, like chaos. Like if you do like a fun game mode, then you can bounce around fun.
But you can't. You still can't. Fun is subjective. It's the most subjective thing on the planet.
True. But I mean, like, take the player base account and take majority is what I mean, I would say.
So we should just don't, so the minority doesn't matter then? You see the problem?
Are you calling me no, I mean, like, you know,
I get what you're saying, but yeah.
I just heard to say, it's just like, if you bounce around fun, it is basically impossible, but there is a way to do it. Right?
It's just
you can't make anyone happy for anything you do.
It's just like with the whole
that is impossible.
It's like with the whole stealth discussion on Survivor side, right? Like most killers don't like playing against it. Most survivors don't like it as their teammates, but like some people find stealth gameplay fun.
Yeah, and it's the actual optimal gameplay for this game, though. That's the thing. Like, you shouldn't be taking chases.
Mm-hmm.
You should, if you hear the killer at all, go hide away from your gen. They'll look at it, kick it, and then leave.
Yeah, waste his time.
And you just keep doing that. That's the optimal gameplay. You shouldn't be wanting to take chases, but chases are mostly for most people are the fun thing, right? Yeah.
Unless you're me and a weirdo.
M1 holding simulator.
Chasing is actually like I've said this so many times. Chasing is like the least fun thing to me in this game.
How come?
It's just repetitive.
Repetitive? Yeah, I can see that.
And once again, I play. I was gonna say I play Chucky, so like it's ironic me saying that, but
yeah.
But that's why I like Chuck spots so much.
Yeah.
That's the most fun thing to me on Chucky.
Yeah, it's just like for me, I find chases. I find just like the whole game itself, like everything you have to do is fun. Oh, no, stealthing when you need to stealth.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's it? Yeah, stealthing when you need to stealth, doing gens when you need to do gens, and chasing when you need to chase. Right. I find everything fun, but when I'm playing like 1v1s, I find it fun because it's RNG based, and I get to use my skill that I've learned to learn the game better and like practice more.
Right.
Because I'm like, oh, I'm doing this. This is impressive. But I fully understand what you mean by boring gameplay loop because like you run around, drop the pallet eventually.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna make people very mad. And
Yeah,
let me finish my statement before I finish. I find the chess aspect of the game the most fun.
chess.
The idea of knowing where every survivor is and trying to control them by
That
playing.
yes,
Yes.
macro gameplay. Yeah,
Yes. I find
that's
that the
really fun.
most fun because Dead by Daylight is very unique in that aspect because a lot of other games you can't really do that like you can in this game.
Yeah, like usually tax shooters can do that, right?
To a
Because
degree.
you should be knowing, or like League of Legends, for example,
Hmm.
right? That's a game you can do that in.
I mean, like I bring this up all the time. When I used to play Rainbow Six, I think my shots per minute percentage was like 2. I would just sit on cameras the whole time. I find that fun. It's fun and
Yeah,
satisfying to call somebody out and then see the kill feed go up because my teammate killed them.
yeah, and that's fun to me too. Like when I'm playing Blight, I'm gonna use scrims for this one because that's where like I mostly use it.
Hmm.
I'm like in like public matches, I just turn off my brain, just go to the opposite side of the map, hopefully find a survivor.
Hmm.
But like in scrims, it's usually Suffo that I'm playing on Suffo one. So there's gonna be a 3 gen somewhere. I also have to know where the survivor spawned, know who's getting save, who's on gen. Should I pressure gen? Should I tunnel? Like all these things you have to think about, and it's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Because then if I reward myself because I did the right thing, and if I don't, then I'm like, damn, I misread hard. Um, and I like that about the game too. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion at all.
Unpopular is the wrong word. I think for a lot of people, it's just they don't really convey that is I think what happens.
Yeah, they probably enjoy it because they play this game. To be fair, like killers,
Yeah.
majority probably killers.
Well, yeah, because
Um,
macro on Survivor is basically impossible in solo queue.
do gen,
Like
do
it's
gen. Hopefully not get bad teammates.
um because you can't like coordinate with them and be like, hey, we should do that gen over there on the other side. Meanwhile, they somehow caused your 3 gen to happen. Um,
Yeah, that's why I run deja vu on my
um,
build always.
but it's yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's just like it's not that I hate chase. It's not the most fun thing to me. Um, Once again, I like outsmarting my opponent, and I feel like let me rephrase that. There's an old saying in Zelda design. I forgot who said the quote, but they said the idea of a puzzle in a game isn't to when someone solves a puzzle in a game, it's not because they were smart. It's because we made them feel smart. Does that make any
I like
sense?
that.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
A puzzle shouldn't require you to actually be intelligent, but it should make you feel like you are
Mhm.
because all the pieces are there. So
You should feel rewarded.
yes, like I said, that's why I like things like the chuck spots. That's why I like things like someone just brought up in chat. That's why I actually kind of like Vecna because Vecna and Pinhead, especially, they're killers that kind of Vecna is more about the chase, but the way he chases is more methodical than a lot of other
Yeah.
killers. You're trying to think a couple moves ahead,
Pinhead
which
is a great example
mhm,
as well because box logic,
yeah,
like learning box logic, it isn't the hardest thing, but if you do learn it, you're gonna do so much better. And it's such a fun thing to do. Just like doing like watching Coco's video when he did like 9 chain hunts in a row.
hmm,
I try to do that. Like my goal isn't winning the game; it's seeing how much I can do a consecutive chain hunt together. Because that's fun. Because that like I just reward myself for knowing how the game works.
I mean, I know you laughed at me a little bit when I said I used to be a clown main, but like I think that was one of the aspects I enjoyed the most about clown was like at the end of the day, yes, it is throw bottle, slow down, but when you get to like certain loops, I mean, Aaron has proven this. Like once
Is that
you,
the like the 2,000 page clown
yeah,
guide? Or,
yeah,
yeah,
like every single loop, knowing exactly where to place every bottle perfectly, that just
yeah.
makes my
That,
brain chemicals just go, yes, please.
dopamine. Yeah, Like, no, I was laughing at Clown mostly because most Clown players disillusion
Oh,
Rapid Stabiffle.
oh no, it's Stabiffle Rapid. What the hell is the last? It's not Disillusion. Um, God, I haven't played Clown in so long. It's Stabiffle Rapid. The last perk is a random perk. Sometimes it's play with your food, sometimes it's something else. There's one more perk. Oh, Game of Foot.
Game of Foot, yeah.
Yeah.
Game of Foot's also good on demo. But yeah, like Blight, your Clown thing, Blight's the same.
Mm-hmm.
When I was first learning Blight, I would sit in customs for like 3 to 4 hours on end, just bumping around tiles, imagining, oh, I imagine the survivor made it to pallet, so how would I outplay them here? And then I just bump around for a bit.
Yeah, I do think the difference though is Blight looks flashy when he does it. Clown doesn't.
You can make it look flashy, or you can just choose not to.
How can you make a clown throwing a bottle flashy?
360 beforehand.
Oh my god!
Flick clown, like hello.
I think that's the problem though with a lot of when the to get back to the whole like skill expression thing. I think that's where a lot of it comes down to too is like that's obvious. Yeah, that's obviously skillful. Like if I know exactly where to place a purple bottle and a yellow bottle at a loop and how to throw it based on the trajectory, everything I just said, it sounds very skillful. But when you see it,
yeah, it's like okay, like if you post a clip on Twitter,
mm-hmm.
if you see that, like if you just get it down, you're like, and you put in the caption, "I'm so good at throwing bottles." Mm-hmm. Most people will be like, "What's special about that clip?" That's normal clown gameplay. But if you show a Wesker doing an insta hug, they're like, "Whoa, that's so cool!" Even though basically both take almost the same intuition, right?
I mean,
it's just one shows it off better than the other.
I mean,
that's why on Flickland we don't have any ranged killers.
Really?
Like, no.
No,
we don't have Huntress. No Huntress, no Slinger.
No Pyramid Head?
Nope. Our killers are Blight, Billy, Wesker, Oni, and Bubba.
Mm.
Because those are flashy. You can see the text that they're doing.
Yeah.
There's
no preconceived knowledge to know that was impressive.
Yeah, so like you don't have to coordinate you don't have to make a clip according to your player base.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can make it just to the general player base. Like I know techs on Blight that look flashy for like a regular player, but are like dog shit easy.
Mm-hmm.
And like Blight players will be like, "What's special about that?" Like the V1s I was talking about. There's nothing special about them, but they look so cool.
Hear me out. Hear me out. By the way,
mm-hmm.
I've had this idea for Clown for years. One of his add-ons should let him bounce his bottles.
That would be funny.
I would love that just so like because I feel like that's.
But don't make it into a trickster bouncing situation.
No, it would just be a clown bottle though. It wouldn't be that big of a deal, would it?
I mean, maybe. Who knows? Clown players, am I right?
I've said this before. If you ever want to know math in Dead by Daylight, go to a clown main Discord.
I know so much math. Like percentage compared to addition, like for this game, it's so bad.
Oh my god, I know.
So many players don't understand.
Oh my god, multiplicative versus additive. Oh my god. Fun fact about Chucky, by the way. So he has an add-on called Portable TV. Do you know what that one does?
No.
It increases Slice and Dice's duration by 70% when the gates are powered.
Yeah.
And then he has one called Jump Rope that increases it by 8% for the whole match. Now here's the thing about this. So Jump Rope increases it by 8%. It's additive on its own.
Yeah.
When you combine it with Portable TV, it changes to multiplicative.
Yep.
Why?
DBD.
That's not how math works.
It is in the entities universe.
It's so stupid.
That just reminds me. I got my friends into this game, and the trade-off was for me to play League with them.
Mm-hmm.
And when the entity first showed up around like the person going second, they're like, the sky spider taketh and the sky spider giveth. And I'm like, yeah, that's basically this game. Like that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah, the math thing though with clowns, it's because a lot of clown mains run Stabiffle, so they know exactly how long it takes to catch up to somebody with a bottle and every single stack of Save the Best for Last. I used to know it by heart.
What about now?
I have no idea now. It's lost to the ether now. I know. I think especially with the number changes. I think if you have without any increasing add-ons, I think if you have 4 stacks of Save the Best or Last in a straight line with one bottle directly hit, you will catch up to the survivor in I think it's 4.75 seconds.
Jesus.
It's something. Well, okay. It's also just my brain being weird. Like all right.
Autism powers.
I was talking to another Chucky main about this, and I sounded like an insane person knowing this. If you're playing Chucky at Shack and you're at the non-pallet side door and you wait around the corner and the survivor is holding a check spot on the corner closest to the pallet, if you go into Hidey Ho and charge your slice and dice, or don't charge your slice and dice, and wait 1.25 seconds and then charge and then flick immediately 1.5 seconds later, you will hit them before they hit the door.
I just bump. I bump, and if the survivor's there, I hit them.
Here's the thing. I know all that. I don't ever say it out loud when I'm playing him, but I know all that, right? And people still tell me the killer takes no skill.
No, it does. Like, it can take like little to nothing if you're playing him like hit into dash, like M1 into M2.
Even then,
same with Blight.
Even then, though, I know the timings. Like I know the exact timings in my head based on my add-ons and perks.
Like when I'm playing Blight, I pre-hold, so you can hold down M2 even before you have your rushes, and then you'll rush instantly. So you can pre-hold M2, and I'll hold it like 0.5 seconds before.
Because I think it's. I'm trying to remember the countdown. If you're running rapid and jump rope with no Stabiffle, I think Chucky, it's M1 and then it's 1.4 seconds. Not 5. If you do 5, you'll go past them. 1.4 seconds in a straight line, you'll hit them with the M2. Like
I just know what I'm bumping on, when to do it, and sometimes I do it too fast. To the point where, like, so Blight has pallet priority. Like, if Survivor vaults over it, he breaks pallet before hitting them. Sometimes I do it too fast. So, like, let's say it's a filler. I bump one side, they vault. I'm already rushing. So, like, I break the pallet before they fully complete the vault, so I don't hit them. Because I've done it too much, right? So I was just like, okay, let's just get this over with. But I do it too fast. I have to wait like a couple milliseconds.
Yeah,
it's so annoying because I'm like, I got you, I did it correctly, but I got punished because this game's shit.
I mean, once again, I think it's one of those things that, like I said, we brought this up with Billy. It's like I feel like for what it is, and Chucky's a different discussion on this, but I think what it comes down to with that for people is a lot of people see the good players. So, like, if you're taking your experience on Hillbilly, and your only experience, like, watching a Hillbilly player is watching Numi.
Like Numi plays efficient Billy right now. Yeah, so you're not going to get much out of that.
Of course you're going to think Billy's easy, though.
Yeah.
Like, of course you are.
All right. And then you look at, I think their name's Lindsay? Lenny. No, Lenny? Lynn. I don't know. I forget their full name. But they're very good Billy player, and they're I think one of the first few people to do like the 8 low pros across DDS. That takes so much skill. Oh my.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't, like, lots of people say it doesn't because you're just like going from door to door. But like, it's just really cool.
Yeah.
It's just really cool.
Yeah, I would find that extremely impressive. It's
like any sky spot I have, I sat in a custom upon hours trying to figure it out. Like there's one I posted on Twitter where I'm on top of an invisible wall because I just found it. You know, there's a sky spot on Hawkins that I have, right? And you would even guess the room that it's in.
Uh, is it in like the room with the double pallets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, so you know how the pallets are next to like a control panel?
Yeah.
You can get on top of that control
Of
panel.
course you can.
But the invisible hitbox goes to the up to the floor on the second story of it.
I don't. Mm. But you know, look, I think my point with it is like I feel like people undermine some skills in this game. I think like Skull Merchant artists I think are two of the best examples. Um, because I think at base, like you can play them both very brainlessly and very unskillfully, right?
Yeah.
For artists, for example, you can just place bird at loop every single time. And
that's what I do.
And get no offense to anyone who does. I'm just saying you can do that. But there's also players like Karn who make her look like an S tier best killer in the game sometimes. Because she's learned the patterns, she knows the macro on how to use the birds. When I play artists, my usual goal is to be chasing two people at the same time. That is usually my goal.
Yeah.
And then
for me with artists, sorry.
No, go on.
sorry. For me with artists, I don't play her to like hit birds. Like Huntress, like you're always trying to hit a hatchet and be like, oh, so cool. I don't go for like bird cross maps. When I chase a survivor, I place the birds to zone them and then go for an M1.
Yeah, that's how most people play her.
And it's really fun. No, most people try to launch the birds. They don't think about going for an M1.
But like
I just turn my brain off. Yeah, that's my brain off killing.
Right. my point is though is that like because people can play like that, people think she takes no skill.
Yeah, because that's the only side they see.
Yeah, same with and I'm gonna get some hate for saying this. Same with Skull Merchant. Skull Merchant I think is much worse in this case, but I mean based on the number of views it has, we've all seen what Pixel can do with Skull Merchant.
Skull Merchant is just glorified hag.
Yeah, I can see it.
To me.
But even then, like hag takes skill too. It's macro knowledge of knowing where to place your traps. That's skill.
Yeah, because you're building the web.
But it's not flashy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also Skull Merchant.
Yeah.
It's also Skull Merchant.
That is also true. But like I've seen Pixel do incredible shit that I would have never thought was possible with Skull Merchant before.
Yeah, and there was a clip on Twitter recently of someone using a bug on Skull Merchant. You can get an extra scan on someone if you time the rotation correctly.
It's not a bug
with the drone.
It's not a bug.
No, I mean the scan doesn't scan them, but they still get a.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, if you it's like Wesker with the teleporters on. Like if you vault while someone's using teleporter, it hits them. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. But I mean, like I think it's one of those things where it's like people don't have to do that, so we don't see it very often. So the only thing we see from Skull Merchants mostly are me place drone at loop, me hit you.
Yeah.
And as a result,
that clip that was on Twitter, no one knew what was happening in that clip. People just thought they got it down, and they're like, I played Skull Merchant. That's it. No, they didn't realize what actually happened.
Oh yeah. I mean that happens all the time. I mean it's like I mean you know Rao, right?
Yeah.
I mean there's situations when like you hit a shot with Deathslinger and the optimal thing to do is to M1 to drop the chain and go for the hit.
Yeah.
But that doesn't look cool.
Yeah.
So no one cares.
Yeah, because Cigar's stupid. That takes no skill. Cigar takes no skill.
Yeah, fair enough.
I will say that confidently. But I make fun of Ral because they flick after they shoot.
Yes.
And it's flashy. It's flashy, but it doesn't change anything.
No. I hate it when 100 players do it too.
I do it like mid throw. It actually I don't know if I still have the clip. But I literally shake my mouse like 5 times and it hits the Nick Cage. I'm not even joking.
It's yeah.
I wish I still have the clip. I'll try to see if I have it. If not, oh well.
So I guess we can get back on Blight a little bit, but
Yeah.
so he's probably going to be the least contentious part of this entire stream. What would you say Blight's power level is?
I think he's third place.
Third?
I think I don't know between Blight or Nurse, but sorry, I don't know between Billy or Nurse, but he's below those two.
Okay.
Billy can be more oppressive, and Nurse obviously. So I think he's third.
Yeah, I do think it's funny because I am still of the opinion that Billy isn't better than Nurse because there are some maps he doesn't really work well on, and Nurse virtually has none where she doesn't. If you're good enough.
And someone can go through walls and the other one can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do understand some people saying that Billy is number one because in theory, he's an insta-down killer with no cooldown with immense map mobility.
Yeah.
So in theory, he is better than Nurse.
And on paper, he has more map pressure than Nurse. Because he doesn't have cooldown.
Yeah.
Like you probably heard this from a lot of Ghostface players complaining. Billy is an insta down with no way to get rid of his insta down.
Yeah.
Like I can't think of any. There's no other killer that has an instant down that you can't get rid of.
Yeah.
Unless it's like Myers with Eerie, but I don't think that counts. I'm talking about like base kit here.
No, there's not a single one. Like every M2 killer in the or every insta down killer in the game either has a cooldown of some kind, a time limiter, or like Ghostface, a way to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's why Overdrive or sorry, is it no, not Overdrive. I already forget. Overheating.
Yeah.
That's why it was a thing. Because the devs saw that and were like, this is bad. We need to change this. So he's with all the other insta down. And then no one liked it.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then now you're getting face camped by Billy just holding a saw. We're back to square one.
I don't know how they could fix it either because like I wouldn't want to give him fatigue. The only thing I kind of think they should do to current Billy, I do think he should. I understand why they did it because collision in this game is bad. I do hate that argument sometimes though, for why we can't do it. I do think he should be punished more for running into a wall.
Definitely. There's also add-ons that make it nothing if you hit a wall.
Yeah.
It's called Bump Logic Billy. I'm not even joking. If you're in Overdrive and you have like the add-ons for it, you can bump into a wall, basically almost instantly come out of your saw, and you can get an M1.
I think for what Billy can do, I do think he needs some form of punishment because he like we just said, he's the only instant down killer in the game with basically no caveat to it. Because if you're good enough, you're not missing either. So technically, even my collision thing wouldn't even fix the problem, really.
Yeah, it's Overdrive was literally one of the best fixes for him, but people complained because it wasn't fun for Billy players, even though that's literally one of the ways.
Yeah, overheat. By the way, you said overdrive.
Oh,
that's the current
overheats. Yeah, everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but it's. I don't know. And then, Blight being third. I think Blight being third, it's funny that he used to be 2, and now he's third.
Yeah.
Which I don't even
Blight
think...
being third is fine.
I don't even think it's because he got changed. I think it's just because Billy became better.
Yeah, exactly. Like, his level changed maybe slightly. Because of, like, some collision being terrible.
But I mean,
like,
I don't think anyone would disagree with him being third. I think it's where
third's a good placement to be at, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever I do like tier lists, which I don't do very often, but whenever I do tier lists for like killers or whatever, honestly speaking, I kind of put Nurse in her own little void. The reason being is because like I feel like Blight and Hillbilly are not the ideal, but I think they're fine being better than the other killers. like
Yeah,
in a generalistic sense. I think they're fine. I think Nurse is the outlier.
because she can go through walls.
Right.
Right. Like that's like the whole thing.
Because there's always the talks of whether we should buff or nerf them, nerf killers up to the same level as the high tiers, and it's like, well, if we're talking like nurse levels, no.
Yeah, I would say like Blight is a good example of a strong killer that is balanced. Hit like once again his base kit very balanced,
mhm,
but also strong.
right.
Right? He has a downside to missing or using all of his rushes, but he gets rewarded for using lesser rushes in a chase.
Right.
But it's also harder to use less rushes. Right?
Yeah.
It's he's like one of like same with Western. Like we can keep going on about this, but like they need to look at that stuff and try to change it like that. Like it's hard to balance killers, especially when those three big ones exist, right?
Yeah. If you're curious, by the way, on how I would change Chucky, um,
Sure, let me know.
uh, cool. The base cooldown should be 15 seconds. The miss when you miss a slice and dice should be 2.5 seconds. Um,
What do you mean 2.5 seconds? 2.5 seconds
when you
per
miss a slice and dice, it should be 2.5 seconds of fatigue,
and then the 20-second or 15
and
second
then the
cooldown?
15-second cooldown.
Okay. I was like 2.5 second cooldown. I was like,
Yeah. No,
I
no, no,
don't know what
no,
you're
no.
talking about.
That way
Okay,
you're
yeah, that's what I was
yeah.
asking.
That way you're punished for missing.
Okay, yeah.
And then I would buff his add-ons that actually improve that. That way, if you want to use it for mobility, you can. Um, that's really it, honestly. I mean, there's a few other things I would do. I would make it so when you scamper a pallet, your turn rate increases, but by 10% per pallet.
That'd be cool. That'd be a cool add-on actually.
Yeah, I'd suggest that. I suggested that should be what running shoes does, because right now it's kind of a worthless add-on. Um, you get 2% haste for 5 seconds when you scamper. Let's fucking go. It's not
But is that
useless.
additive or multiplicative?
It is no, it's additive.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that one for a fact. Yeah, it's additive. So you go from 110 to 112. Actually,
Wow.
no. You go from 160. No, hang on.
Yeah.
No, you're 110. Slice and dice is 100 or is 50%. So you go from 110 to 160 plus 2. So yeah, 162%. For 5 seconds. It actually does matter. There's some scamper hits you can only get with the 2%. Actually, Shaq being one of them. But yeah, that's really all I would do. I think he just needs to be punished more for missing.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with those.
Because I think like Blight, I think is punished enough for missing. I think he's in that sweet spot of punished enough, but not so much that you don't want to go for your power. And the cooldown is short enough at base, anyways. The cooldown on Blight is short enough to where you still feel inclined to go for your power, even if you don't necessarily think it'll hit.
Yeah. Like we there's like this joke group on Steam called Flick Logic Blights.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let me send you the copy pasta. Basically, instead of bumping to safety hit, we just flick to hopefully get a hit. And that's my playstyle.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the copy pasta. You can read it out loud if you want.
Imagine yourself in a scenario. You have 2 rushes remaining, and there is a tree in front of you. The survivor turns the corner. Do you A, bump on the tree, guaranteeing the hit and making it a 100 out of 0 in your favor? B, flick! Exclamation point 1, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point 1, exclamation point 1, exclamation point 1. If your answer is A, go join Osaka in the group of worst blights in A. If your answer is B, join the group.
Osaka's a really popular blight main. One of the better ones.
But yeah, like it's actually kind of funny the more I think about it. Yeah, I think Blight is in a good spot. I don't want every killer to be as strong as him, but I do want more killers brought up slightly too.
He is a strong but balanced killer at base.
Yeah. But I mean, this game also does. People hate it when I say this, but the game does need bad killers.
Yeah, for sure.
And when I say bad killers, I mean killers like Legion, right? Like a basic M1 killer at the end of the day. Like we need killers like that.
Yeah, and they have like map mobility and stuff, but like their base
Yeah.
chase core is
Mm-hmm.
M1, right?
Well,
They don't really have a chase power.
yeah, M1 on everyone that's injured, basically. um, but like, there's no way to make Legion good without absolutely making them like the most busted thing in the world. Unfortunately. Uh, all right. The ones people don't like talking about. Tips for new Blight players.
Watch as much guides as you can, I would say. Okay, so here, let me explain this. If you really want to get into Blight, listen to what I'm going to say. Then I'm going to say other things if you just want to like learn him as like a side character. So if you really want to get into Blight, watch as many guides as possible, even if they're like old, like pre-change Blight. They're still watching because they still have good things to talk about. You can find out how you want to play him. If you want to play him so you have a character that you can win with constantly, um, learn bump logic down to like a needle, right? Watch scrims like as Blight, see how they play. Learn how to brutal and like brutal zone and get a 2 rush hit. If you want to play for more like clips and stuff, subscribe to Flickland. Yeah, just like sit in a custom, look for cool shit. Like I go on a hill, look what I can get on top of, right? Or I stand at the top of a main building, and if it doesn't have invisible walls, yay, right? And that's rare now these days. But like literally, just do anything in a custom. That's like my biggest tip actually. Just sit in a custom. That's like the best way to learn a killer. Even if you're going against bots or if you're just playing like using the power just to get a feel for it, just send it a custom. Put on some music, put on like a Vsauce video on the side or something.
Put on this podcast.
Put on what?
Put on the podcast.
Put on this podcast. Exactly. Put on this podcast.
Yeah,
exactly.
You self promo. I can self promo too.
Exactly. If you're just wanting to get Blight just as like another character, you have like P9 or 10 just to play when you're bored. Learn again, like you don't have to sit in a custom like for days on end, but just like warm up a bit, get a feel for how his bumps play out. And just try to use his rushes in chase as much as possible. Try not to M1 walk down. But if you feel like you have to, don't do it for like 50 years. Realize that he has rushes and he has a chase power, unlike other killers.
Is that about it?
And then you can learn all the techs. Well, there's not much left. There's not much left now, but like I think there's only V1 and like there's like an insta rush thing. There's C Flick, named by moi. C Flick.
And you call me cringe for calling it Chuck Spots. All right.
I named Scancel Mister.
Oh my god.
Numi wanted to call it cold code cancel, okay? Blame Numi if anything.
By the way, do we know who came up with Chuck Spot?
No idea.
It wasn't me. Happened. Everyone thinks it was me. It was not me.
I think I posted on Twitter saying Chuck Spot once, and I was just holding a corner. But I feel like it was players that know what check spots are, and just called it Chuck Spots, and it kind of just grew in the community.
I don't. This isn't me boosting my ego because I post Chuck Spot clips all the time. I think I'm the one who's like made it like in the general lexicon, but I'm not the one who came up with it.
Yeah, same. I don't think I came up with it either, but I have used it before.
It's just yeah. I'd just say just take a letter, add flick to it.
Exactly.
Doesn't even matter if it makes sense. Oh Jesus. Tips for no, hang on. What's a C flick?
C flick? Oh, you can go on YT. You're already on my channel. You can like play the video if you want. If you don't want to do it, I can give you a clip as well.
Hang on. I'll find it.
Okay. It's probably one of the more popular.
Is it just called How to See Flick?
New C-Flick Blight tech. And it says
Oh,
new
there it is.
text.
There
So
it is. I
cool.
see it. I
Do
see
you
it.
like my thumbnails, by the way? I worked really
They're
hard on
better.
those.
They're better than mine.
uh,
I will call you, and I've never seen anyone. Does the text tell me how to do it? Could I skip it?
it's like an in game. I can explain it after.
Okay.
Squirrel actually helped me with this video.
Was that it? Just like the 180 at the end during the
Yeah,
fatigue?
because Blight can't 180 normally.
Oh.
So the reason this works is because for killers and even survivors to change states, I call it the base state or an M1 state. So for like a few ticks, the game goes from like, I'm going to use Blight as an example, rushing, M1 state, fatigue. But the M1 state is very, very quick, right? Because it has to change states. So if you time it correctly, you get M1 camera control, like you don't have a camera lock, but you can swing in any direction you want. You can even go diagonal if you wanted to. But like right now, because of the new Blight changes, the rush timer is in the bottom left. So it's easier to do it now. So you don't have to like think of the timing. You can look at it and you'll get it eventually. And the way you know you get it is because if your screen goes dark and he makes like a fatigue noise.
I see.
It's really hard to hit in a pub. Like if you're not throwing the whole match, you're most likely not going to hit this. I only hit it once, and that was accidental. But it's like a stupid thing. It's not worth doing.
No,
it's not worth doing in the slightest.
I mean, it was just like with scancels. I mean, for the most part, like, how often are you actually getting a hit from a scancel?
Not very often, unless like you're in.
It's still cool to know. It's still like how did you find
that? So fatigue canceling was already in the game, right? You swing on like the last few frames of his thing, and your rushes come back as you're fatiguing.
Okay.
It's still in the game, by the way. That it's like almost impossible for them to fix, but it's like so niche to do. It's like almost not worth it. Like maybe you'll get your rushes back like 1 second sooner. But then when I did it, I had like free camera control. I'm like, what if I flick with this? And I flicked. The clip I sent you, if you skip to the 30-second mark. That's the only one I've hit in a pub.
Oof.
And this was pre-Blight.
Was there anything she could do there?
Not run to the pallet?
Yeah.
She could have just stayed beside the truck. I couldn't have bumped to her.
Yeah, she could have just she could have just
She could have just done nothing. Yeah, exactly. She could have just done nothing.
See, now you're getting it. Okay, anyways. Okay, well, I mean, I guess that segues perfectly nicely into the next question. What if you had to pick the best tip for playing against Blight? What would it be?
I have many.
Okay.
Do I want me to say my best one right now, and then let's do a few counters?
Go on with all of them. I'm cool with that.
Okay, so when you're first versing a Blight, figure out what kind of Blight it is. If it's one that doesn't know how to play Blight and just saw Oddstarvis say he's S tier and decided to play him to get free wins. If he is decent with his rushes, like he's using rushes in chase, but he's not like hitting every single one, or if he's like me going for clips and doing funny stuff, or the one going for a win for slowdown double Eerie. For slowdown double Eerie, you're gonna lose. Just put that in your head. The one going for clips, you could lose. If they're not trying, then like have fun with them. But if not, then like you're still gonna lose because it's Blight. The ones that are newer, there's more counters to them. But for me, because they're newer, it's harder to read because I'm used to going against good Blights. So learning what kind of Blight you're versing is one of the most important things because that leads to what you can do to counter them. If it's a newer Blight, like M1 walking down, try not to go into open spaces because they're going to think they can rush to you, and they might be able to, but they probably won't hit you. But they're mostly just going to walk you down, going pallet to pallet, and usually use their rushes just to traverse. So play them like what's a killer that's like that? I don't even know. There's a killer that's like that.
Like what?
That only like killers, like if you're versing a Billy, and they only use their power for map traversal.
Oh yeah, okay. I see.
It's kind of like that, right? Think of it like that. If it's a Blight that's using their power in chases, but they're only hitting like let's say like 50% of their rushes. The best tip for that Blight and above, like to the very good Blight, is one, know how many rushes they have. Okay. Each rush takes 2 seconds to recharge, and he has 5 rushes in total, unless he has an add-on. Count how many rushes he uses, and then count that amount of time. Let's say he uses 2 rushes, count to 4. Then you know if you can run to the next better pallet, or if you can run around that pallet one more time. Number 2, never give a good Blight pallet control. If Blight gets pallet while you're on the other side of the loop, you have nothing to do against him but try to dodge. And if it's good Blight, you are not going to dodge. 3, learn how to dodge. There's something called flaring, where you go around a corner, but then go wide because you're expecting him to flick.
Yeah.
So on newer Blights, they're usually going to flick around a corner. And on more experienced Blights, they're going to safety rush. So like bump one more time and then hit you. So once they see you flick like a good Blight, once they see you flare, they're going to predict that next time. If you are using their brain instead of turning it off. But if it's like a worser Blight, you can flare more times than usual.
I'm stealing that.
And then crouch tech, only do it when you're on a lower elevation than the Blight.
Yeah.
That's the only, because if you're crouching, trying to avoid while you're healthy, you're detrimenting yourself. You're getting less distance. You should never, even for any killers, general killer tip, never try to dodge your first hit. That's my opinion. I know other people probably have another opinion, but try not to dodge your first hit, because then you get to see how they're playing without trying to focus on how to avoid how they're playing, because you don't know yet, right? Because you have to read your opponent.
It also
to not.
I was gonna say that also may trick them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you don't dodge the first hit, they're gonna be like, "Oh, this guy doesn't dodge."
Yeah, exactly. And so they won't expect like a flare or something, right? Third thing is try not to, like, let's say Blight's using his second rush and he's rushing to you, and you're at a pallet. Some Blights will swing at that pallet, expecting you to drop. This happens to like sometimes like Billies too. Like they'll let go at the pallet, expecting it to drop. So they'll like, I don't know, some Billies do that, but like lots of Blights will swing trying to break the pallet. But if you run through it and fake that you're going to drop it, then they'll swing, give you more time. Once a Blight has his rushes, throw it on the pallet. That's why lots of good Blights run brutal, because that's his one counter, pallets. And if a Blight is rushing around a loop, just stay on the opposite side of them, and try to get to pallet. Not like just run to pallet as soon as he starts rushing. Don't be dumb. But like, try to get to pallet and can't pallet. Don't never ever let a Blight get pallet control. An average chase against a good Blight is around 30 seconds to 45 seconds. Just keep that in mind.
I think that's decent advice for most mobility chase killers, honestly speaking. Don't get the pallet control.
Don't give killers pallet control.
I mean, anything else there? Or is that
That's basically like the 3 best steps. And then like after a while you'll learn like how blights bump. So you're like, oh, like for when I'm versing a blight, or like when I'm playing as a blight, I'm looking around the loop as I'm chasing the survivor to see what I can bump on.
mm-hmm.
Right? So I can go for like bump logic. As a survivor, also kind of look for that. Expect to where you think they're gonna bump. And try to read off that. But usually playing the palette is the safest option. That's what you should be doing. Like, don't leave the loop as soon as you drop a palette. Wait to see what the Blight's going to do.
Oh, gotcha.
Because you're playing Blight's game, right? You can't make the first moves. Blight has to make the first move.
I mean, makes sense to me.
Also, if it's a and last tip, Dead Hard specifically, if it's a good Blight and use Dead Hard the first time on the rushes, they might bait it out by rushing into you instead of swinging and bump instead, and you waste your Dead Hard. So if it's like a really good Blight and they do that, and someone calls it out, if you're playing as Swift or like if you see it in solo queue, just be prepared for that because it can happen.
I'm so jealous you have a killer that can actually bait out Dead Hard.
I know, it's crazy. Just do Elk Chucky, lol. Exploit. That's your counter.
I tell people all the time, it's like if I know someone has Dead Hard, I don't have a power against them. I'm just an M10 or 110 Andy.
Like this Nia here waited for me to break pallet before she started to run away, and I completely lost her. Because she went like she blocked LOS and all that, played the pallet. She did a good thing.
Also, I'm stealing the phrase flaring, by the way.
That's what it's called.
I didn't know it had a name.
At least on Blight, that's what it's called. Because like
I just call it take the corner wide. That's what I call it.
Yeah, taking it wide. Most people think it's called like most people say it's like taking it wide, but I was taught that it's called flaring, and I assume that's because like if like a plane shoots out flares.
No, I think it's just because like you're flaring like a pipe.
Yeah, or flaring like that. Yeah, that also works.
I sell car parts. That's why I thought of that.
Yeah, like so many ways, but like flaring.
Yeah.
You can flare out in the open too, like faking one way and going the other.
Yeah.
But like, if the Blight's good enough, you're not really going to be able to do much. Just be aware of that, and don't go hard on yourself. Like, oh, I'm getting 2 tapped. This Blight sucks. I hate him. No, it's Blight. It's the killer, not like the player.
So the next question is a bit more dependent on you. Are you big into the lore on Dead by Daylight?
Not so much as other people, but I understand a bit of the storyline.
Okay. The question is basically, do you enjoy or like have any strong feelings one way or the other to Blight's lore?
Yeah, I love Blight's lore. How he's like how he's the big mad scientist and like experimenting on the other killers. That's really cool. How he's like he studied the entity, right? Talbot Grimes studied the entity, and then I think was it to not die from the entity. He made a trade with it he saved himself by injecting the serum into himself from the flowers. I find that really cool. How he was studying it and then ended up being part of the trials.
I think that's really cool. Do you think the criticism of his lore not lining up with his gameplay very well is a good one?
I wouldn't. It's not like it doesn't completely line up. Like he still injects himself with the serum because that's what's like. It's basically like.
I mean, in the sense of
it's
like,
basically his thing. What?
Yeah,
in the sense of.
I was gonna say. I mean, like in the sense of like, he's like supposed to be like this basically a botanist, but he. Or alchemist, whatever. The point is, he was supposed to be like a scientist, but his power is, I bump into walls.
In both. Well, because he basically injected himself like with the entity.
Right.
To be fair, so I like that serum makes him go like steroids. That's basically what it's imitating. I like it. I know it's like, I don't think I've heard people say they dislike it. It doesn't make a difference to me.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough. I'm
Yeah.
always a fan of characters like their powers lining up. Their
His power somewhat lines up, but I don't think about the rushing. I don't know if it's glossed over, but like him injecting himself with serum all the time makes
mhm.
sense.
Yeah, for sure. It's just, and I guess you could argue like it's still him kind of like showing his scientist side because if you take it from like a bump logic perspective, it's like
Using his brain.
yeah, he's like thinking about angles the whole time. Um,
Pinball machine. You gotta.
that's a bit of a stretch, but you know,
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
but yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. I know for some killers, Blight's one of the more important killers for the lore. Also, I mean, he was basically built up for like a year before he was even introduced.
Yeah, before he was even introduced, he was teased so
Yeah,
much.
which is something they haven't done in a long time. I really wish they would do it more. Um, can't really do it when most of the killers coming out are licensed now.
True.
uh, I mean, we got what one original chapter this year?
What was it?
It's next.
What was it?
It's next, I think.
Who?
I think it's next. Whoever's next. It's
Who was
Dracula
who
and
was
an original and then licensed.
who was January, February?
Um,
Was it Vecna only?
Vecna, yeah. No, Vecna was June. That's anniversary.
Yeah.
January
Yeah.
was unknown.
Yeah, so that was so we've only had one so far.
Yeah. But this year that means from June to June.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's
yeah.
only
We're only getting one this year.
holy shit.
Yeah, we have Vecna, Dracula, um, whoever the original is, another one, and then
Funny Halloween.
yeah, and then FNAF next year.
Yep.
I have a tinfoil hat theory about FNAF, by the way.
I if it's the movie, I hope they do it right.
No,
Like,
no,
I
no,
hope
no,
they
no.
don't
My
do it.
tinfoil theory is that it's actually coming out way sooner than they said it was.
Yeah, because of Scott
Yeah.
doing things like so much sooner. Yeah, that'll be funny.
Will it happen? Probably not. But I keep saying this. If there was a license to do it, it's this one.
Yep, for sure.
Could you imagine though? Like they said, it comes out in a year and it comes out in like 6 months. Could you imagine the hype?
That would throw a lot of people off. Like all the leakers, if if they don't find out about anything, that would be really funny.
It's. I hate that I'm friends with leakers. By the way, I hate it so much. Like I know so much it's coming in Halloween. I am so, and I can't talk about any of it. Um. Yeah. Skins. This is a fun one to talk about. Skins. Blight has a lot of skins.
He does.
A lot.
And I used one of the ugliest ones. He does have a lot of skin. Blight's waiting for Springtrap to walk out of the end of his steel chair and a syringe. Yeah, that would be so cool though. Blighted Springtrap, that would actually go hard.
Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, he has
skin?
a lot of skins.
Do you have a
favorite skin? I have a few. His cat skin, if it wasn't $15, I would be using that. For obvious reasons. I don't know. His ocean one's nice too.
The new one.
I wish I had custom sounds because that would have been cool. But I like the new one. I use the garden one mostly, not the recolor of it, but it has like a plaid shirt. And then I just use recolor cane and recolor head.
Yeah.
I love Ice Cane. If you talk to any Blight, they're gonna glaze over Ice Cane.
I love Ice Cane. It's the one I use.
Yeah, exactly. His ice outfit though, on the other hand, I have a couple skins. So my main one was like the Gardenish one. My second one is red hood, blue overalls, and then the mechanical cane. Or wait, no, sorry, it was red hood, the purple with the crow, lean Blight, lean Blight, and then the mechanical cane. Yeah. Lean Blight. And then my third one is Ice Cane, Ice Body, and then White Hood.
Mm. Do you have a least favorite skin?
Birkin.
Birkin? Really?
He's pay to lose. He's so loud. He's tall. His voice lines bugged the game, so I couldn't see half my screen.
Is he silver or red, by the way? In the menu, do you know?
I think he's silver.
Okay. So he's not canon. Okay.
No.
Okay.
But he is loud.
Mm-hmm.
Blight already is loud, but him rushing, you can hear him across the map. It's like, I don't know, like opposite of Were Elk.
Opposite of Were Elk. Okay. Is that just it?
Like if you verse a Birkin, I hate the sound and he's big, large. If you verse a Birkin compared to like a regular Blight while he's rushing behind a wall, you can hear the difference. Because Blight sometimes doesn't always make a noise on every rush. Survivor side or killer side. Okay. But you can hear him. You can hear him like rushing.
Yeah.
On killer side, sometimes he screams on his first rush, and on the other ones he's quiet. Birkin screams on every single one. And then he's like, "It hurts." Yeah, shut up. Holy.
I was asking about the color thing though, because a lot of people don't know this. Technically speaking, and it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But if the skin is red in the shop, it's the canicity of the killer being in the game.
Yeah.
So like Krampus is technically in the game, even though it's just a skin for Trapper. It is Krampus, and the Baba Yaga same.
Another skin that lots of people like is the Freak skin on Blight.
Oh yeah, that one looks so cool.
Everyone loves that skin. I'm indifferent. I think it's okay. The best part about that skin is the melee. 100%. And the body design. I like the body design on it. And the melee skin is one of my favorites.
Is I know they're gonna sound dumb asking this. Is Blight super popular? Like super popular?
As in like skins or like Feng Mint popular?
Yeah,
or
like
Feng
like is he
Min,
like because I actually don't even really know like play rate wise, is he like super popular?
Is there? Can I check that Nightlight?
Yeah, you can go to Nightlight and check, but
where do I see the stats killers?
it should be ordered by play rate.
3.58%.
Okay, so he's decently up there. What was he, number 3?
Yeah, he's 1, 2, 3. He's 9.
He's 9th.
Yeah.
God, I thought he would be higher.
He is above Nurse.
Huh. It is God, I thought it would be like top 5. I know Chucky's 5th. At least he was.
I'm looking at the stats. His kill rate's 60, right?
Yeah.
But he either gets 0 kills or 4 kills. And that's a pretty good summarization of what I was talking about. Know the Blight you're versing.
Right.
Because if you see the Blight that isn't good with their rushes, that's what I was talking about. Training customs. Survivors will shit on you. Unless they're like, you're also versing new players.
Before we move on, it should be noted Nightlight is self-reported. I understand that. It's just the closest thing we have to stats. I have to preface that every time, or else someone will comment about it. Anyways.
It's basically a good representation. Because lots of people use Nightlight.
Yeah.
I do personally as well.
It's the best thing we have. Unfortunately, because the devs refuse to put in a stat tracker.
Even though they have many.
Yeah. Well, they've said their reasoning, and this is where the transparency thing comes in that we were talking about earlier. Their reasoning for not putting in the stat tracker is dumb. They said they don't want to do it. Their reasoning is because then they have to start everyone at 0.
I'll be fine with that.
So would most people. I've asked like so many.
Because like, even after like a month or 2 of playing, you're still going to get stats.
Yeah. But it's like
I think they do. Oh, wait, that means leaderboards will reset too, for like lethal rushdowns, for example.
Yeah. Every woman.
I see what they're saying. I actually might not like that. I was just thinking about that. Oh my god. Wait, I need to check. DBD tricky.
Well, no, because the leaderboards take the Steam achievement.
Oh shit, you're right.
So
Okay, so
I don't
maybe
think it
that won't
would.
reset.
I don't think it would.
Because yeah,
Because I still don't even know how that works if they change an achievement. By the way, because I don't know if you still keep the achievement progress once they change it.
yeah, I just hit 30K Lethal
Mm-hmm.
Rush hits. I'm 30.5.
Whoa, spoilers for the last question. Come on.
Oh, what?
uh,
Oh, any stats? Oh yeah. Okay.
I mean, you can bring it up now.
Let's
Why
do
not?
that. Let's do that question and then do the other one.
Okay, go ahead. Any stats you
Um,
have?
so I'm almost at 2,500 hour playtime. My hours are probably like 60/40, like 60 killer,
Hold up,
40 survivor.
go back. You only have 2,500 hours?
Yeah.
Really?
I started playing comp at 800 hours.
Okay.
I'm like people joke about like so many like players like do scrims like comp really helps.
Uh-huh.
Like I learned so much in a span of a month that I would have that so many hours. Like I see people with like 10,000 hours that still don't look behind themselves.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I have 2,500 hours. What did you expect I had?
The way you talk, I thought like 8K.
No, I get really invested in the games I play.
Well, I mean, like I told you, I only have like about the same amount as you.
I was told by many people I learn really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, would you like to guess how many survivors I have killed? Not sacrificed, killed.
Killed? I don't even know how to metric that out.
Like Maury's and like bleed outs, I think.
Um,
Anything that shows the skull icon, I'm pretty sure.
2K.
You're close. 21.
Mm.
I don't use Maury's.
I was gonna say I wasn't sure how to quantify that number. I was like, is 2K a lot? I can't even.
I mean, there's some people on this, like, I'm looking at DBD Tricky. Some people have like 1K or like 600.
Yeah, I'm probably all the way at the
Um,
bottom. I played on Windows Store for a while, so I don't even own the fucking leaderboards. I didn't switch to Steam until like 2 weeks ago.
um, I have 1.6K, well 1.7K 4Ks before the last gen.
Oh, speaking of, by the way, it's lethal rush downs, right? That's what it
Lethal
tracks.
Rush hits.
It's hits.
Yes.
Why did that makes me so mad? That makes me so mad. You know what I'm about to bring up, right?
Yep. Yep. I
Why
remember.
is the achievement hits if the daily is downs? Why? Son of a bitch. I don't play Blight much. Every time I get that daily, I audibly scream. I hate that daily so much. I think I hate it more than plagues. Oh God. Any other stats that seem interesting?
Let me look at my huntress. I dabble in huntress. Let me
While I
look at
have my mental breakdown,
Hatchet's throwing. Let's look at that.
it's Hunters is hatchets thrown, and then there's one for hatchets hit at 24 meters.
9.3K hatchets thrown. I don't play her a lot. I play her she's my side character. Same with Oni. And then she has hatchets. What?
Hatchets hit at 24 meters.
Says chain sleep or cages on it. Stay blink attacks, uncloak aperture.
I think it's all the way at the
I don't think
bottom.
it I think it says here.
It's tracked.
Oh wait, you can scroll.
Yeah, you can scroll. It's all the way at the bottom. Yeah, you can see all of them. You can
Oh,
see.
they're there. Okay.
Yeah, you can see
Let's
all of
check
them. You can
that.
see all the
I
really
hit
bad ones.
56. And also, where's the survivors down while exposed? Would you like to guess that? Mind you, this is Iron Maiden.
I don't know.
It's probably a bit rigged from events and stuff, but
4,000.
586
Oh,
from Iron, like
yeah,
probably like 2/3 of that is from Iron Maiden. I
yeah.
would say.
I mean that's not okay. I was expecting like a ridiculous number. Okay, fair
No,
enough.
no, no. Only really good players, like good players that like understand Blight,
Did
usually do that.
did Old Eerie tag count as an exposed hit?
No,
No.
because it doesn't give the exposed status effect.
Okay. I didn't think it did. I was just like thinking about it. Huh. That's
Wait, I
weird.
can look at my perfect games. Never mind. Yeah, 1.7K 4Ks.
um.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's mostly Blight. That's mostly Blight.
I
Uh,
there's some of those that are stupid. That like I bring this up every single podcast. Do you know what
let me look at
twins track stat?
what is it?
Downs while Victor is on someone.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Chucky's is hits 3 seconds after scamper. Um, I forget plagues. Uh, Huntress has the two. Vecna has one specifically for the Mori. He does if you have the artifact. Um, how far can you punt Victor? Me, probably like 50 meters.
Easily.
If I have a
Damn.
running start, uh, they should add that. They should add that if you run, if like a fast vault, medium vault, slow vault should affect the cooldown. Okay. Um. Away from stats a bit though. Maps.
Mhm.
So here's going to be probably a contentious answer because I think I already know what you're going to say. Would you call Blight map dependent?
No,
No. Okay, never
I
mind.
like every map on Blight.
I didn't. You okay? I thought you were going to say the other thing. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
there
not like other Blights.
is there a map you hate specifically? Like if you had to pick one.
If we were talking old Blight, I would have said Alien map.
Nostromo?
Yeah,
Not.
because uh the hitboxes on that were like so large. But on New Blight, basically everything's fine.
Yeah.
Doorways are a bit of an issue
Mhm.
still. So I would say Larry's can be annoying, but if you like rush down like the middle parts without going in rooms, you're fine.
What about Gideon's?
I love Gideon.
Oh, really? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Like there's lots of pallets, sure, but like just oh well, down takes 30 seconds longer. Right?
uh,
No, so the trick to liking every map is I have found spots on every map where I can do a cool clip.
mm,
Hawkins, for example, I have like 2 sky spots on there. I call it sky spots. It's more of just like Blight going where he shouldn't
right.
on top of things.
I know what you mean,
Um,
basically. Yeah.
yeah. So I have 2 on Hawkins, but Hawkins is an abysmal map for killers like that.
Mhm.
But I get those maps. I'm like, I want to go for this.
Fair enough. So
Yeah, just have a positive outlook on a map. Like as hard as it is, like the new ruins, the Vecna map, I only stay at the top.
I, I'm a weirdo with that map. I count the gens.
Count the gens, like top.
I count how many gens are up top, how many gens are down bot, and try to notice where the portals are placed specifically to see which side would be better.
That's funny. I just look, see how many gens I have top. It's usually like 5.
It's usually
And then
there's usually more gens up top. It's
yeah.
almost
So
always more gens.
you can
Yeah.
just hold, and that's the weaker part of the map too. So it's like
Mhm.
free.
Um,
Like yeah.
that being said, if you do it right, you can 3 gen the bottom.
Yes, it is possible, and I have done it before. It was oh my god, I hated it because everyone would just take a portal.
Mhm.
It's so annoying, but it is possible.
So I forgot who I was talking to about this with that map. What would have been more interesting for the portals, and I don't know, like I know the tech exists, but Wouldn't it have been cool if the portals weren't like you enter them? They were just like actual portals, and you could actually like throw stuff through them.
Like Portal?
Yeah, like portal. Could you
That would
imagine
have been cool.
Huntress like throwing a hatchet?
That would be funny.
um,
You can grab people out of the
yeah,
portal.
you can grab them. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Lots of people don't know that.
I feel like that would also like get rid of most people's frustrations with that map if that's how they worked.
If they make the grabs easier, yes.
Well, no, not even the grabs. Like imagine you're playing Blight, and you just rush through a portal.
That would desync out so hard, especially for this game.
That might be why they didn't do it.
Do you know about Sky Survivor and Killer?
I know about Killer. I don't know about Survivor.
Okay, I have some photos to show you.
On that note, though, is there a map you absolutely love?
Yamaoka is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't hear Yamaoka brought up enough.
I like Yamaoka. It's one of the I like the Yamaoka. I think I would say that's one of my favorite maps. I like the design of it, and the bumping around the tiles are nice. They aren't completely absurd. So yeah, the photos I sent you, those are all Sky Survivor and Killer.
Last one is so good. It looks like a movie poster.
So that is using custom game. I preface this. I was in a custom game. I am showing behavior. How to fix this. Custom game. Okay, anyways. To do this, it involves your frames.
Mm-hmm.
That's as much as I gotta say, because I don't like telling people how to exploit.
I
I know there's YouTubers out there that like cover DBD content that have shown how to do an exploit step by step, which does help to get it reported, but it also shows everyone in the player base how to do it, which is why the locker exploit got so bad, because someone on YouTube did that.
Just send the report to behavior.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what we did with Elk Chunky.
Yeah, just
we're trying to send reports.
Yeah, just send the reports to behavior directly. Don't. The other way doesn't work. I mean, it does, but like not the way people want it to.
Yeah. Yeah, that involves changing your frames.
Mm-hmm.
They fixed a lot of it. They fixed a lot of issues with the frame, so they know how to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
But it involves client side and server side getting confused on where you are.
It's just funny to me looking at it. Like it looks like the image you see on like the back of like a game box. I don't know why.
I have some Yamaoka ones too.
I'm trying to find the viewer questions because we are there now. Right, podcast details, comments.
Can you copy all of them to me?
I could. Might take a minute, but I could do it. Now, granted, most people when I ask them this,
you can ask them if it's easier.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna ask you. So, but to preface a bit, some of these might be repeat questions that I've asked because people don't know my list of questions verbatim.
Okay.
But you know, you don't have to re-answer them if you want to be like, I already answered that. No, next. That's perfectly fine.
Next. Yeah.
OBS.
No comment.
Can I go back to my scene now? Thank you. All right. First one. What are the most fun perks on Blight? Not the strongest, just the most fun.
Iron Maiden, for sure, is one of the more fun perks because it's niche for what it does, but it's very funny to use.
Mm-hmm.
And when I use it on like streamers and shit, they're like, "Oh, he's stream sniping" or something like that. It's just you get a good reaction usually. They're live as well, but niche perk, very fun to use. I used to run haste perks with him. Mm-hmm. Because it was funny watching Blight go like Mach 50.
Machine learning.
Yeah, exactly.
That actually sounds kind of terrifying.
Oh my.
It's part of the reason Tinker used to be so good on him. It wasn't just the patrolling part. I think people forget about the undetectable part.
Yep.
Okay. Next one. Uh, okay. All right. I'm gonna word this better so it's more interesting to answer. What is Blight's best skin? Not your favorite. Best.
Best skin?
Yes. Objectively, what is his best skin?
Like as a sets, I need to look at Blight skins because I don't know the sets off by heart.
Mm-hmm.
I need to look at the skins. Blighted, no. Talbot Grimes, thank you. Yeah, I don't know all of the skins off by heart, but I can look at all of them. I think. Where do I look at all of them?
It's at the top right, and then you have to go to the store.
On DBD?
Yeah.
I mean, like on like a wiki or
Oh,
something.
yeah. You really can't. I've tried. It's very difficult. Uh,
Um, Here. Okay, let's go to the next question as I launch DBD.
okay. Um, any thoughts of switching to a different killer post nerf?
So I knew when I played the nerf, I knew it wasn't going to be bad because I actually trusted behavior to actually do this correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when for like my killer, when I want to take a break from Blight, because if games get like too easy, or if I want to like play, not like bragging like too easy, it's just like if you verse like the same survivors don't look behind you, two tap it gets really boring. So if I want to have a bit more fun, I usually play Huntress or Oni. And if I want to play more macro, I usually play Ghostface.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Um, this one we kind of answered a little bit earlier, but how has the skill expression changed since Hug Tech going out of the window?
so if we're talking like skill expression, as in like clip potential, it has gone down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're talking skill expression between knowing what you know on the killer and showing it, it's gone down a moderate amount. Because before, with the collision changes, good blights would know what is slippery and what isn't, and how to use that properly.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, let's say like the tree example, some trees are slippery, and then you could slip off of them, hit something else, and then get another hit. And on old blight, the lower FPS you had, the more slippery tiles were. So you could hug tech on a wrecker's tile.
Mm.
So it did drop, but it's not as much as people think it did.
Okay.
All right,
And
I'm in the customizations now.
why,
All
why,
right.
while you're thinking this over, I know I'm gonna like meld your brain. This is one Scooty wanted me to start asking everybody.
Oh God, here we go.
No, it's a very simple one. Bam or
Okay.
brutal?
Brutal.
Brutal.
Brutal for Blight. Bam for Huntress. Bam, I believe me, Bam is like so good on Huntress. I love it. If I had to play a chase perk on Huntress, it would be Bam.
Mm-hmm.
But for Blight, brutal all the way.
Yeah, we all can't be Chads like me and run Dark Arrogance.
I think the best skin would be the Greek one.
The Greek one.
The
Okay.
Greek one or the ocean one.
Okay. Objectively speaking, it's one of those two.
Yeah.
Our word is law. All right. Well, I think that's unless you have anything else to add. I think that's pretty much it.
What can I add about Blight? Biggest thing I can say.
Mm-hmm.
I have said this multiple times. Don't get upset when you get a Blight. Take it as a learning experience and don't think you're going to win against Blight. And that goes for any killer. Don't set a goal for yourself. Set a goal. I want to get to 2 gens. When you get 2 gens, you're like, and you see where the game's at, you then can decide you think you can clutch this or not. Because Blight is a stronger killer, just remember that. Try not to like piss on yourself, egoing yourself, and then like, oh, strong killer, such bad devs, blah blah blah. No, it's just the killer is good, and the killer can be strong, but like, don't expect to win every single time against a Blight.
Yeah, good word. I mean, like I talk about this a lot, where I think people need to get out of the I must win mentality in general. I think people should be going more for the moments in the match, not so much the end goal.
Yeah.
I think it was my favorite thing about 2v8 was the random moments that would happen. Kind of sparked my urge for that more than it normally does. But if you don't have anything else, I think we'll end it
I think
there.
that's everything.
If you can tell people where they can find you one last time.
So mostly I am usually on Twitter, at IGN code, and that's with 2 E's.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also featured on Flickland. We're a clip hitting team. Basically sum it up, we're the phase of DBD. That's the best way to
That
put
is not the compliment you think it is.
it. There has been some moments from people on the team
Mm-hmm.
where it could have went better. But generally, I mean, for the clip hitting portion of it, like old
Considering
BO2, FaZe Clan kind of
considering
thing.
I'm about to have like half of you guys like on my podcast, I think I know.
I mean, you Scooty stepped away from Flick,
Mm-hmm.
but Cheese would be on it. Sea Line's on it, also A list. He decides who gets to come on the team as Oni.
Oh wait, never mind. Squirtle's
Um,
not on it. He's Huntress. Never mind.
but he's a mod
Um,
and a creative. Like he does the edits sometimes.
yeah.
Um,
I just gave
who else?
away who I'm trying to get for Huntress. Oh.
uh, yeah, ask Squirtle if it's a hit or if it's a miss or a dodge. I'd like to see their reaction.
Oh my
I want to
god.
know their answer to that.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, those two are probably the best way to find me. Um, but if you do have questions on what I have said, because I was rambling for half of this, I probably don't even remember what I said.
yeah, welcome to the
But if you
podcast.
yeah, if you want to discuss anything about this game, let me know, and I'll probably look at comments. If you're being like outright BM, I won't talk to you, or I'll
They're
make fun of you.
yeah,
One or the other.
those usually get deleted, just so you know. I'm
Can you
decent.
keep them for me?
Sure.
I want to laugh at them.
Listen, I'd say this all the time. To those of you making it to the end, if you have a problem with a guest I bring on, keep it to yourself, please. Um, I the amount of comments I have to delete on some of these because, oh, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. Oh, this person's stupid. Oh, you should have got this person. Gone. I don't care. I'm not
No,
dealing with it.
I understand people are going to say, "Oh, you should have got Lilith." Yeah, that is true. Lilith is a good Blight. But for what you're trying to achieve, like trying to get the smaller voice heard, this
Mm-hmm.
is good.
It's not even necessarily smaller voice. It's just any voice.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just
I'm
saying.
glad I hit you up at the time as well. And I had some of the people vouch for me. I didn't realize that they were.
Yeah.
But that was funny.
Oh yeah, so many people did when I on that one in particular. That post is where I got most of the probably the last 5 I've done.
Oh, nice.
Because Sea Lion came from that, Magi came from that. Uh, oh my God, I do so many of these I can't.
Sea Lion's goated, bro. I'm so glad you got Sea Lion.
Sea Lions will be right before you. No, 2 before yours. Probably in the next 3
Okay.
weeks or so. Reapers comes out this week. For Pinhead. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Also, if I was like rambling, if we were rambling at all in this discussion, we don't be afraid to like cut it. By the way.
Oh no 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 no
If
no no.
you have a question, you want to keep everything.
I keep everything.
You keep everything.
I keep
Everything. Okay. Okay.
Not because I'm lazy. I like it that way. I think it's people like hearing normal conversations.
Are you happy that this discussion wasn't 2 hours? Or
It was about
are you glad?
4.5.
It was. It was. It's almost 4.
Yeah,
It's almost 4 hours.
because we spent about 20 minutes on the start. Yeah, it's fine. Before we keep talking though, I do want to say to everyone listening, I think we're gonna go ahead and end it there. But you don't have to leave, by the way. But
Okay.
we're gonna go ahead and end it there, guys. To everyone who made it to the end on the YouTubes, I love you guys. All the links and stuff will be below as always. Have a good one, and yeah, bye.
Bye bye.